put me into a fever. Now I'm a believer of a love that's deeper. Ooh, the temperature's evil, so I to deceive you. The love isn't equal. Take the key and lock my heart away. Tie me down, but you're in outer space. Darling, even if you're tied away, and nothing I could say to make you stay. Nothing I could say to make you stay. Nothing I could say to make you stay. I'm sicker now that I've seen ya. Every day that I wake up, you pull me in deeper. Ooh, you made me a prisoner, my soul's gatekeeper, just as grim as a reaper. Take the key and lock my heart away. Tie me down, but you're in outer space. Darling, even if you're tied away, and nothing I could say to make you stay. Nothing I could say to make you stay.
STN Racing proudly presents the HIP Motorsports 150 from Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan. We're coming to you live, again, from Suzuka for the F.A.R.R.T Racing League, I think is what it's called. Yeah, I know the name. Haha, very funny. It's a 2.5-hour endurance race here with the HPD ARX 01Cs, the LMP2s, for those of you that don't understand what the heck I just said. Jacob Pitts, Josh Lee here with you for the call. Glad to have you along for the ride. Zach Johnson, our producer for tonight. As always, just about 10 minutes, a little under 10 minutes left here in qualifying before we get this thing underway. There's a lot to unpack with points and everything here, Josh, but the racing comes first, and, you know, these guys don't get to run these cars around this racetrack very often.
And they don't get to run them just alone. This is only one class. Only the HPDs will be out here on the track. Usually they're, against a GT3 class, maybe even a GT4 class, as we've seen in the 24-hour races and the other endurance races here on the iRacing service. But tonight it is just the HPDs, which is going to be very interesting to see how they race against each other, because they're all prototypes and they all race very similar, of course, to each other because they are the same cars. Some setup differences can be here and there, but the slipstream is pretty strong with these cars. We could see some really, really interesting racing across the 2.5 hours.
These guys are certainly going to put on a show for us. We've got, 13 teams here to race tonight. I think I got that number right here. So, in reality, that means we'll have 26 drivers because for each team, they are required to have 2 drivers, so there will be a driver swap. They need, I believe it's 65 minutes required of seat time in this thing, so not a ton of wiggle room with how you're going to plan things out. Pretty much, you get to the halfway point, you hand the keys over to the next guy, and they take it out the rest of the way. You've only got about a 10-minute gray area between the 2 drivers that you're going to have to work with. For the most part, it's going to be pretty structured. We're going to see everybody pretty much come in around that 10-minute window for that dash then to the finish.
Yeah, and we're used to seeing a lot longer stints when it comes to races having driver swaps. You could think of the 24 Hours of Spa that just went by this last weekend, and you had drivers in the car for 3, 4, 5, maybe even upwards of 6 hours in the car. Here it's only going to be about an hour and 15 minutes, and then the driver swap is going to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see how they format that driver swap, when they're going to plan on doing it, and how hard the drivers are going to push during their stint, because they're going to have a lot less time in the car than they normally would before they have to hand it over to somebody else to go ahead and finish the run.
These guys have 5 fast repairs on their race cars, so if they do damage the car, they're not completely toast. But you hit 12 incident points, get 12x, that's a drive-through penalty. You get a penalty for every 12x you get. Once you reach 100, you are disqualified. And if you hit 100 in just a 2.5-hour race, I think you may have more issues than just getting disqualified. But it kind of eliminates that margin of error that you have. Yeah, you have the fast repairs. You don't want to use them because you're going to lose a lot of time if you have to tow or if you're off the pace. And again, those incident points, they add up pretty quick. 3 bad wrecks, and you already have a penalty.
And those penalties are going to add up, especially because we were talking about pre-race, Jacob, the battle in that points championship. And earning no incident points is going to mean that they earn more points. So you need to be careful out there on the track. And I think we're going to see a lot of these drivers be careful out there on the track. They don't want to use up those fast repairs. They have 5 of them available, but at the end of the day, you want to try and get out of here using maybe 1 at the pit stop for the driver swap, but none on from there.
Let's take a look at the board for right now. It's Jim Barris Racing, the 6th car. Jordan Bezugli right now driving that machine there. You see him out on the racetrack. Bezugli, we'll figure that name out as time goes on. Either way, he's at the top of the board right now with a minute 50.295. He just set that fastest lap, and right now he is on pace to go even faster here. We'll see how that all plays out. Everybody pretty much flying with these fast laps as we're under 5 minutes now, as the track kind of gets to the drivers a little bit. Some of these team names, I didn't look them over before we started. We've got the 10 Young Butt Burps. Val DiPietro currently in the car. They're second. Team Luke and Michael with Luke Tucciaroni in the 3rd spot right now. We'll run through all the cars, who's in the cars, who will be in the cars, and all that fun stuff once we get to the starting grid, because they got to make a full lap behind the safety car before we get the green flag. We could see the safety car out there tonight, but basically we're going to need a big one in order for that to happen. Multi-car accident. Otherwise, we're going to keep going the whole time.
And We only have about 4 minutes left in qualifying. It was a 30-minute qualifying session, so no practice beforehand. So that does mean that these drivers have been already putting down some fastest laps. We see a new fastest lap from the same number 6 car that was up at the front of the field already. Jordan Bezugli, 150.099. Almost down into those 149s. Maybe we'll have some times there at the end of qualifying here, but everybody only having roughly about one more lap, maybe two, to put in onto the leaderboard, and we'll see if anybody can improve on their times. A relatively striking gap in between lap times. You can separate the top 4 by about 1 second, but you go all the way down from there. We have 12th place, 2.9 seconds off of the lead, so a very good spread of lap times here. We'll see if any of those cars towards the bottom of the field can go ahead and start working their way up to the top with maybe some setup changes or anything else they do to their car.
And Bezugli, he's had a long time out of the race car. He made his first start, the first race of the season, then ran the 4th race, and then pretty much went into hibernation. He ran at Laguna Seca, went away for 5 weeks, came back when they went to Okayama, did very well. In fact, he won the race at Okayama. Then he took another 6 races off before running 4 in a row. Did not finish very well at CTMP, the last race he started, and then missed the last 2. So he's back in the race car right now, and he's got his team on top of the leaderboard right now. He is looking at setting another fast lap as he's coming around. His pace right now, a second faster than what he has already set. We'll see how this plays out at the line, but if he blows this out of the water by more than a second here as he comes through the final corner, let's see how it goes. A 1:49.899, so not a second faster, but still faster nonetheless by almost 3/10. He's got an 8/10 gap back to the second place team in DiPietro.
What a lap there from the 6. That is the speed that is going to be needed to win this race. And right now they are 8/10 up on second place right now. Almost a full second separating first and second place. That 6 car is going to be tough to beat out there on the track for the 2.5-hour race that's coming up.
Bezugli, DiPietro, Tucciaroni, Eric Dalla Riva, Vicari, Verma, Wingfield, Langile, Todd, and Cherry, the top 10 right now. As we are just under a minute and a half left here in qualifying. Interesting with the 4th place team in Eric Dalla Riva and his teammate in James Houghton. They are 1st and 2nd in points. In individual standings, they lead the team championships and are most likely going to win. They're going to need a miracle to not win that championship. Houghton and Dalla Riva, 1st and 2nd, separated by 1 point. Houghton with 524 points, Dalla Riva 523. The only way Dalla Riva can get by Houghton, since they're teammates and they're driving the same car tonight, is if Houghton can get the fastest lap in the session and keep it the rest of the way. Or Dalla Riva, same deal. Plus, if they get no X's, that'll help them out. Or whoever gets the
And we are going to end out qualifying here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Checkered flag and a wave on qualifying. And got about 2 minutes, 40 seconds for the rest of the fields. Work their way across the line. Finish the flying laps that they are on. If the car is on a flying lap, nobody else can start a new lap here. But coming across the line, we have the 30-30 team, number 41 of Eric Dalla Riva across the line. Not going to improve. They keep their best time of a 1:51.011. And we wait on the remainder of the field to work their way around. We might see another lap from Bezugli in the number 6 as he's working his way out of the hairpin through turn 12 down towards Spoon Curve. And we could see a new fastest lap set from them. Last lap wasn't all that great, 151.219. We'll see if they can improve here on the final flying lap they are going to get. And they'll race their way down the straightaway into 130R, turn 15.
I have a feeling they burned up their stuff here. And I don't know what happened. Discord just had a small stroke, but we're back. I think Bez Ugly on his fastest lap, which was 2 laps ago, I think he pretty much gave it all he got and burned the tires up the rest of the way. A minute 50.9 on his final lap as we await everybody else to come across the line and finish their laps. This will pretty much set everybody in stone because there's not really anybody going astronomically faster that has a shot. Well, maybe. How about the 12, Thomas Langile? He's on a pretty fast lap right now. His pace is about a second faster than his current fastest lap. We'll see how this plays out as he's coming around through the final couple corners.
And he speeds his way through turns number 8 and 9. Goes under the bridge. I don't think we are going to have any more cars that are actually going to make it back to the line. It looks like we might have Colin Cherry come back to the line. No, he's too far down the racetrack. I don't think we're going to have F.A.R.R.T Racing get back to the line with 15 seconds left here in qualifying. I think they're going to be stuck down here on the straightaway as they exit Spoon Curve. Yeah, that's going to be end of time for them. They're not going to get this lap in, unfortunately. They're going to be stuck in 9th place.
And that's such a shame, too, because they were less than a tenth behind a happy ending to the spot day team in 8th. But nonetheless, they will start from position number 9. All right, let's run through the starting grid for tonight's race. Jordan T. Bezugly for Jim Barras Racing. They start from the pole. Mike Wagner will take over the car at some point tonight. Val DiPietro for Young Butt Burps in the 10 machine. It's Stephen Nagovin who will take over that car at some point. In third spot, we've got Thomas Langile. What? Are we just talking about them being like 5th? Nope. Okay, I guess not. Whatever.
We're third now, Jacob.
No. Okay, ATVO scoring's wrong. It's Team Luke and Michael who's starting in the third spot with nobody's in the car yet. It's Michael Puchik and Luke Tucciaroni that'll be sharing that ride. We'll see which one comes out on the racetrack. It'll probably be Tucciaroni that starts for them. In the fourth spot, it is 30-30-30. The 41, of course. They're not driving the 30, but it's James Houghton and Eric Dallariva in that car. That's the battle for the championship. And we expect Dallariva to start in that ride. We'll see what happens there. Fifth spot belongs to Gladiator Road Racing in the 27. Shane Vicari and Jonathan Rolston will split time there. Vicari will start for them. Sixth place, Team Yellow Horse, the 7-11 team. Ujwal Verma will start in the car, and Chris Pazinski will take over in a little while. In seventh place, number 7, Team BS. It's Benjamin Beacock who starts in the car. Steve Wingfield will take over. 8th, happy ending to the spa day team. Number 22, Lawrence DeFranco leads, or will take that car to the racetrack first. Raymond Rainville will take over. And in 9th, the team we were talking about, F.A.R.R.T Racing, Thomas Langile in the car, Randy No. How about Thomas Miller will take over? 10th, number 14, the Zoomers, Randy Zimmer in the car, Paul Todd will take over. And then the rest of the way here is, we're coming to the green flag already. The Old Farts in 11th, that is Colin Cherry. 12th, the Hip Motorsports machine of John Venditti. And in 13th, the final spot, 37 of Renison Lowe. Pace car is in. We are just about set to go. Green flags in the air, and the 2.5 hours are underway here at Suzuka. Let the clock begin. The Hip Motorsports 150 is underway. Whoa, DiPietro! in the first corner, lost it, and he goes wide. Valdipietro spins the car out. He gets passed by everybody in the field. Everybody else is going to survive, but it's Bezzugli who leads the field around.
That was a huge moment in turn number 1 for Valdipietro. It just looked like he just lost the car down into braking, no contact. I don't even think he got aero wash with anybody. Might have just gotten a little bit up out of the groove. Maybe hit a patch of no grip, something of that nature, because the car just snapped right around. And that sent him way off into the gravel, only a little bit into the sand, however. And he was able to continue on, but he's in 12th. More trouble with that.
Langile, he gets piled into by Colin Cherry. Coming out under the bridge. Langile, I think, got the curb and just lost it on exit. When he put the throttle down, slammed hard into the guardrail and came back up across the track and nowhere for Cherry to go. Langile trying to get the car going. Looks like he will succeed now, but a vicious crash in the back of the field. As right now, everybody just trying to make it through this first lap cleanly. We've already had 3 folks lose it on the very first lap. They've got a long way to go.
But out in front, all business ugly. And I don't think either of us are surprised here, Jacob. That car was extremely fast in qualifying, still fast here in the race. And second place, Team Luke and Michael right now, still trying to work their way up. Luke Tucciaroni in the car right now, and even James Houghton in 30-30-30 is still right there. A good first lap for Jim Barras Racing, 150.115, but the rest of the field on second place specifically only about 7/10 off, so we could see some battling maybe, but Bezzugli's still trying to pull away as they are the fastest car on the track.
Just gotta wonder if Bezzugli overdrives the car, uses too much stuff up early on. That could allow Tucciaroni to close in the gap, but it's just too early to tell. We only have 1 lap in the books and a long way to go. Nobody has pitted yet. As Thomas Langile still trying to come around to complete his first lap. As he's coming onto pit road as we speak. Let's take a look at the replay of that first lap. We're going to start with the driver of the 10 and Valdipietro in that Cheetos machine. Going to go down in the first corner, and Josh, you're right, no contact, just lost under braking.
Yeah, dude, you can take a look at the replay here, and it maybe got up into a patch of low grip up there. Nobody's been running there in qualifying, but it just went right around. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was right around, and luckily did not end up in the sand and not have trouble getting out. Here's that other incident that we had a little bit further up with Thomas Langile. And he's working his way now out of turn number 8 through Dunlop. Here's Dunlop here, up and around into Degner Curve, turn 8. And he's going to make his way into 8 now. Where did he lose the car? And there he gets...
It was at the bridge.
It was right,
right here.
Here. Yes, he just got up too far on that curve, and that curve specifically right there here at Suzuka has a little bit of a hike up to it on the outside of it, and he just got a little bit too far onto that, and that spun him right around and slamming into the wall. Fortunately, though, he did use a fast repair, but unfortunately he is down 1 fast repair and still in 13th, tail end of the field.
Meanwhile, Luke Tucciaroni holding on pretty well, still 8/10 back on the race leader. He hasn't lost a ton of time. Toon, the driver of the 6, as Bezzugli way down there in the points. Tucciaroni right now in points. He is 3rd in points, just 12 points behind James Houghton. Only problem is he needs that 41, who's sitting in 3rd right now, to finish about 13th if he wants to have any shot at a championship.
And trying to continue to fight his way up through the field. A little bit of a battle further back. Team Yellow Horse and Gladiator Road Racing fairly close together. 7/10 separating these two as they work their way through turn 12 down into Spoon. we could see these guys start to battle it out. But we still have 2 hours 25 minutes left. This is a long race, and we're still going to have a lot of time to go. And we're going to see who is going to get into battles, because with only 13 cars on the track, they will inevitably start to spread out. But whoever's going to be close to another car, they're going to be able to make the passes out here on the racetrack.
And you're not really going to have the slower cars bunch the field up like we typically get with an endurance-style race, where you have the GTEs and the GT3s slower than glaciers out there on the racetrack compared to these LMP2s. You do not have that. It's all the same class. So unless somebody really has an issue, speaking of, we do have trouble. John Vendetti has gone around in the last couple of... Well, he didn't go around, just kind of missed that final chicane. Took out a cone. I'm sure he'll be getting an arrest warrant for that. But other than that, not too much there for the 99. Slowed down a ton, but keeps the car clean, doesn't have damage, and might have an X for going off track. But other than that, the 99 still looking good.
Trying to keep on to that top 10. Omega Racing Team not involved in any incidents yet tonight. They're still running in 11th. And then, of course, Colin Cherry, Thomas Langell, both involved in incidents back from there. But the 37 trying to hold on to 11th place right now. Val Di Pietro, even with that incident in turn number 1, still running in 9th. So a good run so far for that team. And the number 10 is going to be trying to run it. And there goes Vendetti off the track. Jacob, what did you do?
I didn't do anything, but he flat out drifted it through that corner. We need to replay that now. Wow. Tell you what, may not have been cool from the driver's seat, but it was cool as heck watching it up here. That was awesome. I'm sure he may not have enjoyed lighting the tires up going through that corner, but man, oh man, there you saw the very end of it. I mean, he threw it into that corner and drifted it through there. Wow.
Something, lick the stamp, right?
It's pretty much what he did. He made it work, and he's going to repass Renison Lowe right now for position. As here we are back live. So he's going to take that 10th spot back after lighting up the tires. Half a lap ago. Oh, he almost missed the chicane again in the same spot. Locked him up.
We'll take that 10th spot back, and he doesn't have too far up the road to Di Pietro. It's 7 seconds. I mean, that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. He might be able to catch up to him. I mean, last time by, obviously didn't lap faster, but best laps could be trying to track a little bit better for Vendetti, as he'll stay in 10th place, and Omega Racing Team just trying to catch up.
Everybody trying to catch up to the 6 Jim Barris Racing, with Jordan Bozzugli leading the crowd right now. Bozzugli with the fastest lap of the race so far. Remember, you get a point for the fastest lap. It doesn't mean much for Bozzugli, but it means a lot to Houghton and Tucciaroni, third and second on the racetrack respectively. Third and first in points, respectively, needing any point they can get. You know, Houghton needs that edge over Dalla Riva. Tucciaroni needs a lot of help. He needs Dalla Riva to kind of sabotage his teammate a bit, send him off course, send him on the country route here through the grass, and cost him a couple of spots. So Tucciaroni may have a shot. Plus, Tucciaroni going to have to rely on his teammate here in the second half of this thing as Val Di Pietro's around again. That's the second time that the 10 has gone for a slide, hanging on to P9 for now, and looks like through the carousel, too wide, got the curb and lost it.
Here comes the Hip Motorsports number 99. Can he get by him? Because we've seen Di Pietro run fairly consistent laps. If he keeps running those consistent laps, he could stay in front of the Hip Motorsports number 99, but we'll see this time by just how fast Hip Motorsports is going to lap. A 152.874 Not the best time in the world, but also not awful. A little bit slower than the number 10 machine, though, so I think he will inevitably pull back away from the number 99, but he still has 9.5 seconds up to the 14 up in front of him, so everybody's starting to spread out in this race. It's going to be hard pressed to find any passes going on right now. Everybody kind of just waiting for passes to be made on pit road and who's going to undercut and overcut.
Well, how about this? The 20, Luke Tucciaroni, we talked about it. He needs points. He just set the fastest lap of the race, so 150.3. That's just about 0.2 faster than Bazzugli's fastest lap. 0.3. Last time around, as there goes the leader! Bazzugli steps on it, caught the curb, and he's going to go around. Luke Tucciaroni takes the lead. Wow!
That was a huge moment, and that is going to surrender him the lead. And now surrender him the lead by 6.6 seconds up to the new leader, Team Luke and Michael machine. Luke Tucciaroni now in the car in the 20.
That's going to move Houghton up to second. Tucciaroni going to have to rely on his teammate in Michael Puchik here in this second half. If he can hold on to this spot, we may have a race for the championship. The only problem is first place pays 34 points, second place pays 30. If Tucciaroni wants to have a shot at the championship, he needs 30-30-30, that team 30-30-30 to finish, I believe, in the fourth spot. So they cannot finish on the podium. Otherwise, it's going to be one of the 30-30-30 drivers winning the championship. We'll figure that one out when we get to the end of this deal. But right now, Luke Tucciaroni is doing everything he can to win the championship. He just needs some help from the folks behind him.
So this is, not only is it changing the landscape of the points championship, it's going to shake up the landscape of this race, because now the 6 car is 6.6 seconds back in 4th place. He has to pass Team Yellow Horse, he has to pass 30-30-30, and he has to pass Team Luke and Michael to get back up to the lead. That is going to be very, very tough, because we don't know how much he burned up those tires. I mean, road racing tires don't burn up that quickly anyway, but they could have had something burn up in them when he spun it around. We don't know if there could be some sort of damage on that car anywhere that we can't see, and we also don't know if he'll be able to even make that time up in a reasonable amount of time, because as everybody spreads out, we're seeing even lap times. We're seeing best lap times still being set, so we're still seeing some cars get up to speed. It's already down to 6 seconds, but it's going to be tough, especially to not only catch the cars in front, but he has to pass them too.
James Houghton just set his fastest lap of the race. Problem is, it's a half second off of Tucciaroni's fastest lap, but Tucciaroni was also 0.2 slower than Houghton that last time around, so Houghton may have the consistency that is needed to catch the race leader. Just under 3 seconds is the gap between first and second, and Ujjwal Verma is in the 3rd spot right now, the 3rd step on the podium, just a second back on the 41 car, still kind of just lurking in the shadows for that 2nd spot if a mistake was to be made by Houghton.
He needs to make a mistake, and I don't think he's going to make a mistake. I mean, that 41 has been on rails for a good long while, and I mean, you can go back to qualifying. It was still on rails there. 150.829, his best lap of the race, and he set that last time by the start finish line. So that 41 car is still getting faster, and I really am mad at them that they didn't make their car number 30, so it's 30-30-30-30.
Exactly. That was the point that I made when we went through the grid. They're the team number 41, but the team name's 30-30-30. Anyway, and of course, Eric Dallariva, the 2nd driver on the team, when they run different race cars like they have the rest of the season, Dallariva runs 74. Nobody drives the 30. So I don't understand the move. Actually, I lie. Leo Mora drives the 30, but he does not drive for this team. Mora drives for Omega Racing. But yeah, that's an interesting decision to name the team 30-30-30, and yet here they are driving the 41 and the 74. Nonetheless, it is Luke Tucciarone who continues to lead the way. Everybody social distancing around the racetrack. A second gap or more between incidents on that first lap. But as of now, everybody's driving good.
I did like I mentioned social distancing in between everybody because, I mean, we are in virtual Japan, but, you know, the Olympics are going on in Japan, and unfortunately none of the virtual drivers here can interact with any of the virtual Olympians here in this virtual world of iRacing. We should have, there should be, is there an official Olympics video game? If not, they should have an esports.
Does Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games count?
I'll count it.
Because that's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, I don't think there is an officially licensed Olympics video game out there. I think Mario and Sonic is all you get.
I think we need an official Olympics video game, and I think we need broadcasts of it here on S10.
All right, Zach, set it up. Ujjwal Verma closing in here for second. 8/10 back now on Houghton, as the top three have kind of leveled off a bit. Keep an eye on Bazugli. He just ran his fastest lap of the race last time by 150.4, so even after lighting up those tires, he's still darn quick.
He's down to 5.4 seconds gap to the leader, and he's also down to 1.2 seconds separating himself in the 7-Eleven. With Ujjwal Verma behind the wheel, and the 30-30-30 number 41. That doesn't roll off the tongue that well. Anyways, he's right there, right in front of him. The gap is only about a half a second, so he might be able to get a nice little 2-for-1 special here and try and get by both of these cars in one move.
Gap down to half a second. Verma was 0.6 quicker that last time around. So Houghton apparently having issues with the race car, at least that last time by. We'll see what happens this time around.
Okay, when will Jordan Bazugli catch up to this group? Because he's right there, about 1 second back. He's relatively faster. Actually, he's not that much faster. Last time by, 150.354. Like you mentioned, it's the fastest lap of the race so far, set last time by. But Team Yellow Horse and Ujjwal Verma just set a 150.606, so they're only about 3 seconds back, or 0.3 of a second slower. Like, that's not a lot right now, especially right here on where they're running on the track right now. So if he catches him, he's going to need to try and get around him. He's going to need to do it on a front straightaway or on this straightaway they're coming up to now and try and get a good slipstream off of him.
I wish these wings had DRS, just so we could have something entertaining down the straightaways, but it kind of enhanced that draft a little bit. Still half a second is the gap. Saw the leader. He is catching lap traffic of Langile here. He's not going to get to him right on the middle of the straightaway. He'll get to him probably here in a corner.
He's getting closer as they run down into the corner, but they stay relatively the same gap going through this corner. Like you mentioned, the need for DRS on these cars, that would help them out at least a little bit. Or if we were watching the LMP1s, they could use that energy deploy, but fortunately, these cars have neither of those. But even when this track is used for used for Formula One, it's also a tough course to overtake with. This is not a heavy overtaking course in any car that you put on this track. You really can only pass down into one. You can pass on the straightaway through 130R. You can try and make a pass going into the hairpin. You can try and make a pass through Spoon, but other than that, there is 0 passing opportunities left on this course. So it's really only 4 or 5 you got to choose from, and you got to choose wisely because 3 of them are insanely difficult, and the other 2 are risky. So you need to try and weigh your options.
Speaking of risky, it's about to get risky. Thomas Langau just got lapped by Tucciaroni. And everybody else is closing in here. This three-car battle for second, Houghton, Verma, and Bozzugli. It won't be long until they get to the back bumper of the yellow banana there, the 12.
Man, I still feel bad.
Whoa! Verma! Lost it! He's around on the straightaway. Off the corner, got the weeble wobbles in him, and he's going to lose third to Bozzugli. That's going to open up the door for Bozzugli to try and take third away. Houghton can breathe easily for the moment. Here comes Vicari to the back bumper of Verma as he gets back up to speed in the last corner.
Oh, and Verma almost had it saved, too. They just were going through 130R. They got back up on that curb, that curbing that we talked about at the exit of turn number 9. Same thing exiting 130R. It just hikes up a little bit. And once you get those tires over and you try and move those tires back, it slams the car down. And he got loose. He corrected okay. He might have been fine, but he got the rear tires and then the entire left side of the car into the grass and into the gravel, and that sent them right on around.
Peacock is damaged. Whoa. He lost the whole front clip of the race car, and he lost it. Oh, I'm not sure where this is at on the racetrack, but a similar spot. Lost it on the curb and then got head on into the guardrail. Going to use a fast repair, but big damage for Team BS in the 7 machine.
Man, we are seeing drivers wrecking left and right here. Not sure what happened to Benjamin Beacock and Team BS, but that car had lost an entire front end, looking like a NASCAR Tour modified out there on the track, and looked like it was an incident. Yeah, it was exiting through looks to be turn number 7. It was a Dunlop curve. It was exiting, slammed the guardrail, and off goes the hood of that car. But we do have a battle for 4th. Gladiator Road Racing versus Team Yellow Horse as they race down the straightaway into 130R.
Yeah, this is Verma just trying to get back up to speed and getting the juice back in the tires. Vicari was able to make the pass, but Verma's not letting him out of his sights as they come down through the chicane and head toward the final corner. And Verma may try and set something up here after that wild slide a lap ago.
Will they make a move down into turn number 1? Not going to be able to get close enough. Vickery versus Verma. And Vickery's going to win the battle through turn 1, but take a look at that gap, only down to about 0.2. Here comes Ujwal Verma trying to get by Shane Vickery for that 4th spot in the number 27. He's not going to have another good passing opportunity until I think turn number 10 or turn 11 at the hairpin. Verma's going to need to get a little bit closer than he is now.
Yeah, had some great speed, but now he's lost a little bit of time. Just a little too far back from the back of the 27. And have to regroup and maybe try again the next lap. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move quite yet as he locks it up a little bit, getting into the hairpin. As we are closing in on 30 minutes in the books here from Suzuka.
Verma wasn't close enough in the hairpin, not close enough into Spoon either. Last time by did not run too terrible of a lap, 152.861. We'll see if he can get a little bit faster. Obviously, I believe he was just coming off of that spin last time by. So we will see if he can get by him here into turn number 1. Oh, first they got to go through the Casio Triangle. Not close enough here. That's one of the risky overtaking opportunities that I mentioned earlier. Here's the one down into 1. This might be the safest one if he can make it down about halfway down the front straightaway, but you can see him running right in his mirror.
Trouble for Houghton. Trouble for Houghton. Bozzugli gets by for second. Houghton went way wide. Way overcooked the corner, and that allowed Bozzugli to take second away. That helps Tucciaroni. Problem is Houghton's next competition 9.5 seconds back in Vicari. So Another championship implication. Houghton gets kicked back to third, and Bezugley winds up in the second spot. They were getting closer and closer and closer together, and all of a sudden, Houghton started sinking like an anchor. Knew something had to go wrong.
So that puts Bezugley back to second, and the gap to the leader down to 4 seconds, and now he's got nobody in between him. We could see a battle for the lead start to brew, as exiting Spoon now is your race leader, the 20, and entering Spoon is Jordan Bezugley, second place currently in the 6. This is going to be a close fight for this lead, and can Houghton try and get back Bezugley? I don't think he's going to be able to. Vickery and Verma still battling there for 4th.
By the way, the fastest lap battle, these guys have only gotten faster. Luke Tucciaroni, a minute 50.183, his fastest lap last time around. Here's the battle for 4th. Meanwhile, Verma gets the spot back. Wow! What a battle between these two guys. They got a long way to go, but Verma's racing like it's the last 5 minutes.
They wheel banged down the straightaway into 130R, and that puts Verma now up into 4th, and Bezugley is pulling away from Houghton. And look at Shane Vickery for Gladiator Road Racing trying to get back by Ujwal Verma, but look at the 7-11. They are fast out there on the track. A 150.606, their fastest lap. They were 7/10 faster than Gladiator Road Racing last time by, and they are going to try and set their eyes on 30-30-30, who is only about 10.5 seconds up the road, but no pressure for that 7-11 team.
Only. But as I mentioned, Tucciaroni, his fastest lap, a minute 50.183. Bezugley in second place, set a 150.174. He has the fastest lap of the race by just under 100th of a second. So Tucciaroni needs to find a fraction of a second to get that fastest lap point back in his pocket and help him out in the long run.
And around he goes.
Tucciaroni, that's the race leader. He's around. Bezugley to the lead. Houghton to second. Luke Tucciaroni goes around. It all gets thrown away in one corner. He had a 3-second lead, and we've seen it, we've seen it happen before. Got a little wide up on the curb, and the thing snapped on him.
And not only puts him down to 3rd, puts him 7.5 seconds now behind Jordan Bezugley, who just got gifted that lead back to him. And he's gonna write a Christmas card to Luke Tucciaroni this year. I'm willing to bet money, because now he has the lead, nobody within pressuring distance. So he's gonna continue to try and extend this lead at the front and just try not to make any mistakes before that driver change.
That's the second spin from the lead that we have seen tonight. Potentially more to come, since we're only a half hour into this deal. Wow.
And yeah, Tucciaroni now 7.4 seconds back. I don't think there's anybody separating. I think there's one lapped car separating himself and the number 41 of Houghton running in second place, but he needs to try and put on those afterburners and catch up to the front too, because from 7.3 seconds, there's no way I think he can get by anybody with an undercut or an overcut.
It's going to be pretty difficult at this point in the race without that pit stop there to really change how things are going to play out. So 30 minutes in the books, 2 hours left here from Suzuka. We're going to go side by side. You won't miss a thing here on STN. Jordan Bezugley, it's been a long half hour, but he's back on top here at Suzuka. We're back after this.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scan, with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Suzuka for the Hip Motorsports 150. 2.5 hours from this racetrack. Jacob Hitz, Josh Lee here with you for the call. Zach Johnson, our producer. And it's been a wild first half hour.
Oh, wow, to say the least. I said during the break, I think we've gone through an entire race worth of drama in 30 minutes.
We've got more trouble. DeFranco, the 22, he's around in the last corner. Oh, he really missed the chicane. I mean, killed another cone, lost a spot, went all the way through the gravel, and Lawrence DeFranco falls to 7th, got passed by Val DiPietro, who has spun twice already and is still in 6th, only 12 seconds back from a top 5. What a rebound for that 10 car.
And they're still trying to rebound more. I mean, they have 12 seconds to the 27 up in front, but with the mistakes we've been seeing, we could see that gap start to close in, especially if Shane Vickery for Gladiator Road Racing makes a mistake.
We've seen mistakes out of just about everybody in the field so far. 2 from the lead, 1 from Bizzugli, 1 from Tucciaroni. Houghton made a mistake as well from the 2nd spot. Verma made a mistake from the 3rd spot. Vicari's been all right. Trouble. Oh, we just talked about him. The commentator's curse. Somebody go get Evan Pasocco because Val DiPietro just lost it around and we just jinxed the ever-living hell out of him. Oh, my goodness.
Where is Eric Messer with the Twitch clip?
Oh, my. Sorry, Val.
Okay, but we'll put it out there that we have commentator cursed a handful of drivers tonight, and they have all rallied back to at least be in contention for something.
And he only lost 1 spot, and he's only 2 seconds back on DeFranco, who he just passed a lap ago. So it's not like he lost everything. It's going to make his life easier here because he's gaining on him a little bit. But the drama continues to pile on here at Suzuka as we've got a long way to go as DiPietro flashing the lights down the front straightaway. Not sure if that's to us, to the car in front of him, or just because he's bored driving that 10 car. He's not having enough fun out there.
Yeah, it's a 1.4 second gap now. He is catching Lawrence DeFranco up in front of him. And I do like to think the happy ending to the Spa Day name is in reference to the Spa 24 Hour, in which I do hope they did have a happy ending to that race that they entered.
Not sure if that's what they're referencing, but I'll go with it.
That's what I'm going to say it's referencing. I mean, everybody can have their own opinion.
I suppose that works. That's your side of the story, and you're sticking to it, right?
100%. 100%.
All right, just looking through the field. Let's travel back to 10th place. 9th and 10th. Got a battle back here with John Venditti, Brenison Lowe in the 37, and Venditti in the 99. You've seen these two a couple of times already early on, with Venditti going around once before. Applying the pressure here for 9th.
Yeah, and Omega Racing Team has not been the best car all day, but Hit Motorsports makes a mistake. He locked it up going into the hairpin. That door closed a little bit quicker than I think John Venditti for Hit Motorsports was thinking, and he'll stay in 10th place for the moment. Gonna have to try and rebound and get another overtaking opportunity somewhere else, but it's 30 seconds up to Randy Zimmer in 8th place, so these guys are battling in the middle of nowhere as far as the time on the racetrack goes.
They both locked it up as we've got pit stops. Randy Zimmer in the 14 is on pit road. This is their first stop of many. I think they're only at like 45% fuel capacity. No, 75% fuel capacity. So the fuel tanks are not completely full. This is not the driver swap, I would imagine, just because it's way too early for that. They've only run 40-some minutes, if that. Looks like Zimmer's going to stay in the race car. Going to lose a couple of spots, but he's going to get fresh tires and he's going to get fuel. I would expect at this point that we're going to see everybody else come on to pit road here in the near future. Colin Cherry is in. He's at the back. Everybody else has been hasn't been on pit road except for Beacock, who pitted after contact. He pitted 7 laps ago. Langile pitted 17 laps ago. He had that crash pretty early on. As here comes the race leader, Jordan Bez Ugly, I can read. He is coming on to pit road. Houghton is in. Tucciarone, he will stay out. So Luke Tucciarone will retake the lead. Ujwal Verma stays out. Vicari's on pit road. Everybody else too far back. So this is the first pit stop. They're probably going to have to make 3 here, I would imagine. If they have to pit at this point in the run, kind of cut each stint in half. And then the next pit stop is when we'll see that driver swap. No, how about this? Driver swap for the 6. Bez Ugly out, Wagner in. So these guys are going to swap at every stop.
They're going to lose a ton of time here.
Yeah, this is going to cost them more than anything, just because Wagner still has not gotten in the race car yet.
Is he going to take it all the way to the end?
They can't do that. Bez Ugly hasn't met the time requirement.
Yeah, so that's just going to hurt him on time even more.
Unless what they're going to do is put Wagner in for 2 straight stints and then have Bez Ugly take over on the last stop and take him the rest of the way. That could be what they're doing. Instead of cutting it directly in half, they'll put Wagner in from here to their last pit stop. So that means the next time they would come in, Wagner would stay in the car. We'll have to wait and see. Venditti is on pit road. DeFranco has been on pit road. Those that have stayed out, Tucciarone, Verma, DiPietro, Renison Lowe. Those are the only 4 that have yet to make a stop.
I don't think that strategy for Jim Barras Racing is going to work well. I mean, the driver swap for the 99-2 Hit Motorsports Jim Anderson into the car, but I don't think it's going to work well at all because they need to try and gain so much time that they're not going to be overtaken if they driver swap in the pit lane because they lose so much time. You look at their pit stop time, it's 40.8. That's about 12 to 13, in some cases 18 to 20 seconds more than another driver's pit stop. They need so much time built on the racetrack to driver swap and not lose a spot.
Later on pit road, Tucciarone's in, Verma is in, DiPietro is coming in. So it looks like James Houghton may wind up as the race leader. He's coming around through the chicane right now, through the final corner. Tucciaroni still in the box, still in the box, still in the box. Now he's gone. James Houghton has taken the lead for the first time tonight. Tucciaroni comes out in second. Verma's going to come out in third. Here comes Wagner, so Jim Barras Racing falls from first to fourth based on the pit stop. And the only driver swaps that we see are the 99 and the 6. Everybody else going to do the swap right around the halfway point at the next pit stop.
Yeah, I think those normal driver swaps are going to work so much better. I just don't see how making two driver swaps during the race, one more driver swap, is going to help at all. It's only gonna hurt. I would be very interested to hear what their strategy is here, because it's just, I don't think it's going to work. And if they're going for the win, this is the exact opposite of what they need to do, because now they're down 13 seconds away from the leader. They need another 20 seconds on top of second place. They need 33 seconds in between now and the next driver swap. It's just not, I don't think it's going to work.
Keep in mind, we could see a safety car, but that's unlikely with everybody just spread out as much as they are. Closest battle on the racetrack, well, it doesn't exist right now, to be completely honest with you. Closest battle is P4, and it's a 2-second gap between Wagner and Vicari.
Yeah, the gap's all spreading out. You mentioned earlier social distancing between each other. It's especially true now. Omega Racing Team comes out of the pit lane. They're going to be relatively close to the 52, but not too close. And everybody else staying relatively distanted away from each other. It looks a bit like a Formula One race would, I guess, if Formula One had 13 cars instead of 20.
Well, it's 5.5, almost 6-second lead between Houghton and Tucciaroni. Tucciaroni, his first lap out of the pits here now. James Houghton had the fastest lap at one point, but I believe it's Mike Wagner who has set the fastest lap now. Taking a look. No, Bizugly set it. No, that was qualifying. I'm sorry. How about this? Bizugly, his penultimate lap, he set a 1:49.9 even to take the fastest lap of the race. Houghton with a 1:49.998. So he's close, but right now Bizugly gets the fastest lap point.
I feel like that race to the fastest lap point is going to come into play in that final stint. I feel like they're going to, you know what, that might be what they're trying to do, is get the fastest driver in the car to make the fastest lap and hope it stays. But I think later in the race, they're going to be setting some faster laps. The track could grease off, maybe, but I still don't think the track's going to lose that much time.
DiPietro just went way wide in the hairpin, as here comes the 99 onto pit road. Not sure what this is about here, as the car looks fine. Let's see what they do here on pit road with Jim Anderson. They made the driver swap, and now they're back in on pit road. Now he's finally in the box. Looks like they are taking tires on it. Did he get a penalty of some sort? And that's why he's on pit road.
I think so, because this is nothing's even happening in this pit stop. It could have been speeding onto pit road, could have been speeding off of pit road, because they do have pit limiters. They could have, yeah, they could be pit limiters. They could have just put the pit limiter on a little bit too late and sped into the pit lane, or put it off a little bit too early, sped out of the pit lane. But it is a bit weird to see that penalty. It could also be a blend line. They need to stay within that white line until the blue line, the blue iRacing line on the track. But I'm not sure because this is already now about a 60-second pit stop.
He gets out with a
He's out.
59.7.
Exactly 50.
So, gotta wonder. I know it's stupid, but do you think maybe they hit the incident limit? And that was the penalty for hitting 12X? I don't know how they would have gotten to 12 already, but could that have been it?
Could be. I've heard of this track having some unforgiving off tracks.
Round. Your race leader is around, and there goes Tucciaroni to the lead. That's in the chicane. Houghton lost it. He was stuck in traffic, caught the curb, the thing kicked wide, he kept it out of the wall, and now we got a battle for the lead down the front straightaway between Tucciaroni and Houghton.
Closest battle we've had on the track all day long. Tucciaroni in first now, Houghton to second. Can that 20 car pull away and keep on running there in the first spot? We also had an incident with Team Yellow Horse. Unusual Verma got loose on the entry into turn number 1. They slid out, and now Jim Barras Racing and Mike Wagner back to third.
Nice little rebound for them as Verma did have that mistake. He's about a second back. Tucciaroni almost lost it getting under the bridge. Thing got a little wide on him over the curb, but he's still pulling away. 0.6 of a second is the gap. You're right on board with Houghton.
Trying to catch him through turn number 12. They'll go down to Spoon Curve now, 13-14. He's not close enough now. He's going to try and run with it with that lead, and more cars off into the grass. That one is Thomas Langile. More incidents for the 12.
Yeah, he's back in the 11th spot. Didn't lose much. He's already a lap down. So nothing really lost for Langile. As we focus in on the battle for the lead, 0.3 of a second as they come down to the chicane.
I think Tucciaroni's going to keep pulling away with this. I don't think Houghton's got the speed.
At the line, Houghton 0.4 off of Tucciaroni's lap time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to catch him now. Tucciaroni needs to make a mistake for Houghton to catch back up to him, because you can see just how spread out they are even now. Even with it being 0.4, that's still a huge amount of time separating these two, because that means Houghton isn't close enough to make a move. He would have to make a move that could lead to him spinning out, could lead to contact with Tucciaroni, and then it either takes one of them out or both of them out. So he needs to be careful, and he can't dive it up the inside right now. So this is pretty much Luke Tucciaroni's battle to pull away with.
The clock continues to tick. Oh, Joe Houghton's around! Houghton lost it in the hairpin! Lost it at the apex! That thing just stepped out from under him under braking. Not sure if he wheel hopped it, but that thing was dead perpendicular to the rest of the corner, and it's going to cost him 4 seconds on the leader.
Well, I was talking about what was Tucciaroni's battle to lose, and yeah, I think my everything was just confirmed there. I didn't think Houghton would make a mistake, but like I did think he would slowly start to fall off, but he did that a little bit quicker than I thought there.
How about the battle for 6th between DeFranco and Val DiPietro? This is back here again for 6th. Closest battle on the racetrack by far. Here comes DiPietro, looks to the inside. Now thinks better of it, gets back in line. Lost a little bit of time there because he had to enter the corner. A little wonky, so he didn't run him over.
DiPietro's not close enough to make a move through 130R. I don't think he's close enough to make one into the Calcio triangle either. Down into the corner they go. And the 7-Eleven, it looks like he had an incident. Ujwal Verma, as now
Again.
Shane Vickery catches back up. Was it in the same spot? It was the exact same spot. A different type of incident. He got up a little bit wide on the curb. He understeered up, hit the curb, spun around, kept it straight-ish, spun around, and then kept it going. Didn't spin fully around or anything like that. So he's still in 4th place, but Vickery breathing down his neck. DiPietro has DeFranco breathing down his neck as they work into the S's once again. Battle for 4th and battle for 6th brewing on the track.
Yeah, DiPietro flashed the lights down the front straightaway, and DeFranco pulled up, let him by, and DiPietro takes position number 6. Here is that battle just up the street. It's 25 seconds up the street, but nonetheless, here it is between Verma and Vicari, 4th and 5th. Verma and Vicari have been battling for the last half hour or so for this spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, you can see Verma's speed in that Team Yellow Horse car. He is pulling right back away from the Gladiator Road Racing number 27. I mean, it's not... You can see clearly Ujwal Verma has the speed to run up front. They just keep making mistakes that keeps putting them further and further away from the lead and further down the order. Just absolutely... They just need to keep consistently running on this track, and then they'll be able to start slowly catching back up to cars. But if he keeps making all the mistakes, Vickery will go around. He might even end up in DiPietro's view here soon. And back through this corner, he doesn't make a mistake through here now, so he's going to start to pull away once again from Vickery. It's already 9-10, still going to make it about 1 second out here.
How about Mike Wagner? He's cut the gap down to a second between him and Houghton. 4 seconds right now. Wagner, let's see, more than a second quicker last time by. He is closing in on Houghton, and that's what Ciccarone needs for the championship battle. He needs Wagner to get by, and it wouldn't hurt if Houghton makes a couple more mistakes.
We've already seen mistakes from Houghton today. I don't think Houghton wants to make any more mistakes, but I don't think we're fully out of the realm of seeing it. We forget. We're talking about mistakes. Not that these drivers are less than stellar in any means. This track is difficult. Suzuka is a difficult track, specifically in these cars. Not a lot of suspension, so you get too much curb and these things spin right on around. You hit the brakes a little bit too hard in these things, they spin right around. You hit the gas a little bit too hard in these things, they spin right around. It's not an easy car to drive, not an easy track to drive, especially this car on. So mistakes are expected. You just got to try and mitigate those mistakes. Maybe start running a little bit slower. Maybe just focus more on your inputs into the throttle and the steering to try and just recover the car whenever you can. We're seeing a lot of mistakes from these drivers. Nothing out of the ordinary, just we're seeing a lot of mistakes that are then leading to more battles on the racetrack.
Oh, and around goes Houghton again! Houghton's around! Wagner takes second! Houghton gets it rolling! Here comes Verma! He's rolling around! The gap's going to be about 4 seconds between 3rd and 4th. Everything falling in the lap of Luke Ciccarone, and Houghton, the championship lead, is slipping through his fingers. He's still got it for now, but it's getting harder and harder for him to hang on to it.
Yeah, that is exactly what I said. You just got a little bit too hard onto the brakes, a little bit onto the gas as well at the same time, and just the rear end snapped around, and that ended up making another mistake for Houghton.
And just keep adding up for the driver of the 41, the 30-30-30 team. Question for you, Josh, here is Houghton's around again in the hairpin. Verma is there within a second. Houghton with yet another issue. That's 2 in 1 lap. And he has a long way to go here. He's got at least 20 minutes before he hands the reins over to his next driver.
Yeah, this is another mistake from Houghton that I just talked about. I mean, he just got a little bit too much curb down the bottom of the hairpin, and that just sent him right on around. Nothing, he just trying to be a little bit more consistent is leading to these problems, and now he's got Ujjwal Verma right in his rearview mirror. This could
More
lead to
trouble.
more mistakes from Houghton.
Randy Zimmer, the front clip demolished on that race car. He got way wide, caught the curb, and went head on into the guardrail. That thing is junk right now. He was running in, I believe, the 8th spot at the time when he crashed it. But back to the battle for third between Houghton and Verma. The gap is half a second. James Houghton very tedious around the racetrack, trying to keep the car under him. As Houghton knows, he loses one more spot, he is in danger of losing the championship, even though there's a long way to go.
Oh, and Mike Wagner's right on the tail end of a lapped machine in front of him as he tries to get around, and he fortunately is able to, but that was a very almost an incident with Wagner and a lap machine. But there's Houghton on the track in the number 41, currently sitting in third, and he's just trying to get back up. It's now 15 seconds separating himself in the leader, and it's another 8 seconds up to Wagner, and then Wagner's another 6.4 seconds up to Luke Tucciarone up at the top of the field. So closest gap right now, 9/10 from fourth to third, as Ujjwal Verma is still trying to catch up to Houghton after he made those mistakes.
Yeah, Verma lost a little bit of time there, and just up the road in front of him, Colin Cherry, the lap car they just passed, he looped it around in the hairpin. Got it rolling, though, without too much damage. As Randy Zimmer, I talked about the contact he had. He is on pit road now to try and get that thing fixed.
Verma's catching, and Verma goes off in the Casio triangle.
It's going to cost him. The gap now 2 seconds. As Ujjwal Verma had him in his sights. But now he's going to need some more help in order to get back to him here.
Yeah, and that now puts the shortest gap in this race down to 1.6 seconds. Verma and Vickery battle for fourth, separated by 1.6.
Closest battle on the track between these guys right now.
And you can see when they're going into turn number 9 here. I wanted to bring it up because we used to seeing a handful of races really on road courses where you won't see it. Now we're starting to see it as we're over an hour in, and exactly an hour in, hour and 30 seconds into this race. You can start to see in these corners where that rubber's starting to get laid down, and if these drivers keep running in that, heat's going to continue to build up. It's going to start to get greasy and a little bit loose for these guys, so they need to be careful running in that rubber, because that grip could be there one lap and then very quickly grease over and be completely like ice the next lap.
And these guys certainly have to be careful out here. They're about halfway through this stint. And once they get to that point, you get to the end of this stint, that's when we'll see the driver swap from out of everybody except for the second place car. As five-second gap between Tucciarone and Wagner. Then you got to go 11 seconds back to Houghton, who is in third. He's kept the car clean since Verma pressured him a bit, but not where Houghton wants to be right now. He wants to be at the front trying to win this deal and lock it up, not have to deal with the pressure of possibly handing away the championship in the last race of the season.
And still looking at those fastest laps, I don't know. It's gonna need to be at the beginning of a stint, but I don't know we're gonna get much faster than a 149.901. I think Mike Wagner for Jim Barass Racing might have just locked up that fastest lap point.
But here's the thing. Wagner was not the one that set that lap. That was Bezugli a lap before he came into his pit stall. Sorry, 2 laps before he pitted. He set that on lap 19 of his first stint. So it's possible to set a flyer before you come onto pit road.
We're gonna start to see pit stops relatively soon. I think the last one was about 45 minutes in, roughly, and we're gonna start to see more guys coming in about 13 minutes if they stay on that time clock, or actually more about 30 minutes if they stay on that time clock. But everybody is spread out now. 1.2 seconds closest gap. Still Verma and Vickery, but Verma keeps sending more lap machines back for the number 27 to deal with there in 5th.
Yeah, they've got a lot of traffic back there to deal with. It's kind of a conga line behind Vicari. Jim Anderson, Colin Cherry back there. No lap cars in front of them, though, which I'm sure is a relief for the time being. Got to take a look at the lead, though. Off course. Who was that? That's Renison Lowe that went off course. At first, I thought that was one of the leaders because the gap has closed in a little bit. The gap is now 3.5 seconds. Wagner with a 149.961, so he's close to resetting the fastest lap as Ben Beacock's on pit road in the 7. We are still not quite at the point where these guys can do the swap. They're about 3 minutes away from that. Not even 3 minutes, actually maybe a little less.
I'm wondering if Barras Racing is going to make another driver swap here. Because they made one on the first stint. Are they going to try and do one every pit stop? Or are they going to try and do Wagner in the complete middle portion of the race and then split up the stint for the driver that started the race?
I think it's going to be the latter, where they're going to bring in, they're going to keep Wagner in for this pit stop and then bring in Bezugli for that last stint for the last 20 laps or so.
I don't hate that idea, but I do think they're going to lose a ton of time if they don't do it right. Which they're going to need to try and build up a huge gap over the rest of the field if they want to do it right. And right now they are not doing that at all. I mean, they're 3 seconds between the leader, and they're starting to close in on the leader, but we're just going to be pitting here in the next couple of laps anyway.
Yeah, they're closing in really, really quick. It's almost 2.5 seconds between these two. It was 5 seconds about 2 laps ago. So Luke Ciccarone has fallen off a cliff, and Mike Wagner has the fishing pole out and is closing in for the lead.
Yeah, I mean, he's closing in, but he needs to be careful for when they pit, because if they're going to need to do a driver swap soon, they need to try and pass at least on the track or under the pit lane, so then they can work up another 20-second gap in between first and second place. This strategy is, if it pays off, I think it's going to be the best strategy of anybody in the race, but if it doesn't, it is the worst strategy of anybody in the race.
Still 2.5 second gap. Everybody just kind of hanging around right now. There's no real battle on the racetrack, but what we'll do is we'll let the sound of the cars take you in here for the next couple of minutes, and we'll pick up when either things get interesting or when the clock runs out on us just being silent here. So stay with us. You won't miss much of anything because we're staying with you. You'll just hear the cars instead of us. Mike Wagner is closing in. It's down to a second between himself and Luke Cicciarone, as we are about 5 laps away from the next pit stop. There you see Ben Beacock. He was already on pit road earlier. Back on pit road. I think it was just a penalty because all he did was drive through pit road.
That might have been an incident point penalty there with the drive-through. I think they might have had some problems with the incident points.
Possible. Now I see Val Di Pietro also had a drive-through. Might have been the same thing for him, honestly, with the amount of spins that he's had. Still a great night for him. Running P6.
This battle for the lead is starting to heat up inside 8/10 now. 52 around. That is Colin Sherry. Looks like it's been a hairpin here.
He's made it all the way up to 8th. He had a crash on the first lap. Nice little rebound for him. First one lap down. And now, how about the snake drafting here? Cicciarone all the way down to the wall, now pulls out to the grass as Wagner, within 2/10, headed to turn 1.
Wagner undoubtedly the fastest car on the racetrack. Last time by 1:49.867. He beats his teammate's fastest lap time. So he now sits in second place, set the fastest lap. And oh, by the way, about 8/10 faster than Luke Cicciarone at the front of this field.
I mean, it's not going to take long. We'll see if he pressures Cicciarone into a mistake or if he'll just be able to pass him based off of speed. They come under the bridge.
Racing into the hairpin. I don't think Wagner's going to have another opportunity to pass him until they work their way out of 130R into the Calcio Triangle. He tried there on the exit of the hairpin, couldn't get the power down quick enough. They'll enter Spoon. He's not going to have an opportunity to pass here either, and you can see Cicciarone trying to make that car as wide as he can.
And Wagner doesn't want to send it in. He doesn't want to damage the race car yet, but he's right there on exit, right to the rear wing as they get ready to come up towards the chicane, down the straightaway, side by side for the race lead. Wagner on the inside, Cicciarone on the outside. Who's going to give getting into the corner? Wagner clear to the lead.
Cicciarone's not done. He makes a peek to the outside into the Calcio Triangle. Not going to be close enough. Wagner will take the lead now. And what a move for the 6 car. He's back in the lead. Now, how long can he hold this before the pit stops start to come into play? We're about 1 hour, 15 minutes in. We're going to have pit stops coming up really, really soon.
What's going to help Wagner here is the fact that everybody else in contention is going to have to do a driver swap here. Wagner does not. Wagner can stay in the race car because he's only done 1 stint. Everybody else, this is going to be the end of their 2nd stint to hand the seat over. At this point now, they are closing in on running out of time to hand the wheel over. Remember, they only need to have 65 laps in the car. Well, right now, we're already past that point, and we've got a minute 17 minutes left. Minute 18 minutes left, just under it. So right now, they have another 10 minutes or so before they absolutely need to hand the wheel over if they have not made a swap yet tonight.
Now, as we were mentioning with those driver swaps, and last time by on pit lane, it was roughly about 20 seconds lost in the driver swap from Bizzugli over to Wagner. So Wagner needs to have a 20-second gap over anybody that he wants to not lose a position to on the pit lane. I think he pretty much is good for second. Houghton's going to stay behind him, but Cicciarone undoubtedly is going to pass him in the pit lane when they driver swap. If they were to driver swap on this stop, before the driver swap pit stop for Wagner, he needs to be 20 seconds ahead of second place to keep the lead off of a driver swap. So he needs to keep on racing. He cannot rest yet.
closing in on an hour and 15 minutes left here from Suzuka in the season finale, as the 22 is in. They're driver changing right now. The 22, happy ending to the Spa Day team. They're on pit road. F.A.R.R.T out of the car. Rainville getting in the car. So Raymond Rainville going to take it the rest of the way. As that is losing track of who's on pit road and who's not. Colin Cherry's in. Dalla Riva getting in the... Oh, if I can find him, that's getting
41.
in the 30-30-30 car. So Houghton is done. Eric Dalla Riva is in. And now Eric Dalla Riva is going to have to try and not get many incident points if he can avoid any of them. Try and set the fastest lap. And try and get this thing so he can try and beat Houghton here. He's only 1 point back. Dalla Riva's on the gas and he's on his way.
So Dalla Riva will take that car to the end. Raymond Rainville in the car now. And it looks like Hip Motorsports just made another driver swap back to Venditti, who's back in the car in the number 99. Seeing if Omega Racing Team is going to make a driver swap here. Looks like Renison Lowe is going to stay in the car. No, Leo Mora is going to get in the car for Omega Racing Team. So we are seeing a lot of driver swaps now. Don't think we'll see a driver swap with Jim Barras Racing, but we could. They're already on a much different strategy than anybody else in this race.
Gotta pit first. At least with these top 3, make it top 4. So F.A.R.R.T, Verma, Tucciaroni, and Wagner have not pitted yet. Verma and F.A.R.R.T are on pit road right now. I imagine this will be the passing of the torch here. Verma is in his box. Verma's out of the car. Pazinski is in, F.A.R.R.T on pit road. I'm sure he's going to get out, which will put Jonathan Rolston in. There he goes. So it is driver change time for everybody except for maybe Mike Wagner. We'll have to see when they come around.
Pazinski is out, comes out in 4th. Ralston's still in. Actually, Pazinski comes out in 5th. 30-30-30, able to pass him on the racetrack.
Here comes Wagner.
Wagner is in. Will they driver swap? They speed going into pit lane.
Tucciaroni stays out. So he'll stay out for another. Valda Pietro. Well, he's forever behind these guys, so it'll be a minute till he comes around. Wagner coming to his box now. All the way down. Remember, they were on the pole, so they get to park right behind the safety car. Looks like Wagner might be staying in. Watching the clock. Should be about a 20-second stop if Wagner stays in by now. If he hasn't gotten out, I don't think he's getting out. And Wagner is gone. Wagner stays in the car. So Mike Wagner will probably retake the lead here when this cycles around, just because we know the current race leader, Tucciaroni, will get out of the car here when he comes into pit road.
Tucciaroni is the last driver to pit, I think. Unless DiPietro hasn't come in yet under this stop.
DiPietro has not yet, no.
So DiPietro still needs to come in. He's not coming in yet, so That's not affecting Wagner. Is there a 1 minute 20-second difference between those two? So nothing for him to worry about. But just looking at the rest of the drivers that need to pit, is only Tucciaroni left, so he can't stay out there for too much longer. Expecting him this time.
Here he comes.
Yes, he is, and he's in this time and one car around in the Casio Triangle.
That's the 7 of Wingfield, who just got out of the racetrack. Looks like he's struggling out there, but he's got it under him now. So here's Tucciaroni in, and I would expect at this point that Wagner will retake the lead when this cycles around, because Tucciaroni will hand the rest of this off to Pucic. Tucciaroni going to need some help from his teammate to try and pass Dalla Riva and Houghton in the points. He'll need some help.
There goes the second driver. Driver swap made for Team Luke and Michael. Michael Pusek going to go into the car now.
Waiting for Pucic. Here comes Wagner off the final corner. Only doing the tires now. Mike Wagner takes the lead. So just like that, Jim Barris Racing has retaken the lead. The problem is they've got one more pit stop with the driver swap before this thing is said and done. It's not over, as we are past the halfway point in this one. Pucic's going to come out in second, about 19 seconds behind Wagner, make it 18 seconds behind Wagner. And Val DiPietro in third, but remember, he still has to stop. In fact, he's coming in right now. That'll put Eric Dalla Riva in third, Pazinski in fourth, and Rolston in the fifth spot. Everybody else a lap down except for Val DiPietro, who is coming down pit road right now to do his driver swap.
This crazy strategy from the number 6 car could actually work out. He's 19.8 seconds up now. And obviously on the next pit stop, we know each driver it's about 40 seconds with a driver swap. Normal pit stop's about 20 seconds, give or take some variables here and there. But the gap between Wagner and Pucic right now is 20 seconds. So if they were to pit this last pit stop as they are now, then that means that Wagner barely would get out in front of second place with the driver swap if the 20 was not to driver swap.
This is something right now, because right now it's just a waiting game until we can get to the end of this deal and figure out how the next pit stop plays out. We're closing in on an hour left with Mike Wagner still out in front. It's almost a 21-second gap now. He is pulling away from Pucic.
It's another 20 seconds back to Eric Dalla Riva as well in third. So everybody's spread out now. Closest gap is 2.6 seconds. Steve Winfield and Gary Wood, 9th and 10th.
And they are a lap down, each of them. Closest battle for position on the lead lap is Dalla Riva and Pazinski. That's a 3.5 second gap for third place.
Both of those drivers getting in their first laps in this race as well. We're going to see at least a handful of cars start to maybe speed up or slow down depending on the driver that's in the car now, because these drivers are most of this field, the majority of this field I'll say, is getting in the car for the first time in this race. So they're having to get used to the track as it is. Obviously has changed tenfold since qualifying, the last time those drivers were in the car. So they need to get used to the track state as it is now, get used to the car as it is now, and get settled into the run, because they still have a pit stop coming up in this last hour and 6 minutes.
And you got to remember, the track has rubbered in since qualifying. We started qualifying with just 20% wear on the racetrack. Now, that's certainly increased with the amount of laps that we have put on this place. So, the track surface is completely different to what these guys saw about an hour and a half ago.
Well, Wagner's still in the car. He ran last time by a 151.243. We'll see what he ran this time by, because he did set the fastest lap closer to the end of that run, a 149.867, and he has slowed down, and it doesn't look like any of the driver swaps either have set that team's fastest lap of the race. So this track's starting to slow down a bit here, and we could see some different cars start to speed up, maybe, if there's setups built for this track that's extremely worn.
Well, we saw the same thing on Wagner's first run, that it took him a while. Took him 10 laps, actually, to break that 149-second bracket. So it may just take a while to get the heat in the tires and everything and hit that optimal level where the tires can really gel with the racetrack, and these drivers can hit the ground running and set a fastest lap. Because remember, the lap that was set by Bezogli, that was right before he came onto pit road. With Houghton, it was late in the run. So it's certainly, it seems like it's later on in the run where these guys are able to put these lap times together. Let's take a look at the weather and see where we're at right now. 3 o'clock in the afternoon sim time. Air temp 76 degrees, track temp 107. So the track is certainly not cool right now.
It is definitely not a cold day here in Japan in late July. I wouldn't expect it to be that cold, as sim time it is today, Wednesday, July 28th, and 15:04. So we're at about 3 p.m. sim time. Yeah, I'd expect it to be pretty hot.
Now, technically, the date in the sim is wrong because of where we're at. It is actually tomorrow. So really, while we're doing this race today, Wednesday the 28th, it's Thursday the 29th over in Japan. So
basically what you're saying is we're watching a race in the past.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just confirming that's what you were saying. So then will we be calling a replay? Is this a replay, or is it...
Tape delay, yep.
I mean, that's one way to do it.
Closing in on an hour left. And it's all been Jim Barras Racing, really. A couple of mistakes, but not too many compared to everybody else. And that's why they're currently leading the show.
Yeah, and Wagner Wagner, I wouldn't say more than Basugli at the beginning of this race, but especially right now, he is not making any mistakes out here on the track, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Just make no mistakes, keep building that gap. It's 24 seconds now between himself and second place Michael Puchik there in second place. I really think we're going to see this gap start to grow and grow and grow, and we're going to see Wagner just completely pull away from the rest of the field and be long gone, even with the driver swap, and keep this lead at the pit stop. Really hoping I did not just commentators cursing, but I'm just, speaking out loud.
Now, just a note on points. Remember, we talked about that teammate for Jim Barras Racing had only made like 7 starts. Well, Wagner is 6th in points. Has yet to win a race this season. Highest finish, 2nd. It's happened twice. The first race of the year, and then the race last week from Spa.
Gap starting to close for 2 drivers, 1 lap down. Paul Todd, Steve Winfield within 1.6 seconds, now 1.5 of each other. As we focus on Winfield right now, Team BS versus Paul Todd in the 14 for Zoomers. Is the Zoomers name representing the Zoomer generation, or is it representing just the speed that they go?
I think it might be both.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but if I just had to speculate, that's probably what it's about.
Well, there is no paint scheme on that car. If it is a Zoomer car, I maybe expected TikTok paint scheme. Unfortunately, we don't have one. He is closing down to 0.9, 0.8. We could see a battle for 8th here.
Let's see what happens. With Wingfield, we saw him spin the car earlier on in this stint. But seems like he's got it figured out now as he's closing in the 14 of Paul Todd on board.
Winfield might be able to catch Todd here soon. Last time by 151.649 for Winfield, 152.629. Yeah, 1 second difference between these two. We're definitely going to see Winfield catch Todd here. Just depends on when and where he makes that move.
Inside an hour to go here from Suzuka. Let's take a look and see what's coming up here on STN. Friday, the FTF Saturday Night Super Speedway League, except it's on Friday, presented by STN. Round 3 from Monza, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Saturday on E-Racers, the E-Racer Roval Racing Series from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 7 o'clock start time there. Then we're back with HIP, the HIP Motorsports Summer Sim Racing Championship on Tuesday, right here. Suzuka and the GT3 cars. 45-minute race, 8:30 Eastern Time start on Tuesday. And then on Thursday next week, a week from tomorrow. Well, not FTF. It's the eNASCAR Auto Pro Qualifying iRacing Series from Watkins Glen International. We're over on Podium 2. Myself, Sean Butler, Kevin McAdams, Justin Melillo down on pit road. 9 o'clock Eastern on the Podium 2 Twitch. There you go. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Professional broadcast, everybody. That's what's coming up here on STN. There's a lot of stuff going on Podium this week. I know, Josh, we're calling something at Homestead tomorrow that I don't fully understand yet. I'm calling late models then on Saturday night over on Podium. A lot of fun stuff coming up here as we get towards the end of summer.
Well, I will first of all say you can also catch on Podium Esports, not Podium 2, the top split, or the first split of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series with myself, James Pike, Jeff McConey in the booth, and Evan Basoko in there as well from time to time. Justin Prince down on Pit Road. I dub it the fun split, but you know, people say other things about the Podium 2 gang, but you know, they're all great. They make a great broadcast, but you know, Podium Esports is where it's at. But also, tomorrow night, the Slide Job 300, popularized by Brian Blackford on Twitter this past week after Homestead and the Road to Pro. He started taking the 2011 Cup cars there, and you can run them basically from the top to the wall all the way to the bottom, and they are fast and fun to drive. So we're going to see qualification races tomorrow night for the Slide Job 300. Blake McCandless, myself, and Jacob on the call, and Justin Prince also down on Pit Road for that one as well. And then super late models and modifieds coming up on Saturday night, all benefiting. He is around on the track. It's Steve Winfield.
He was closing in, trying to set up the move on Paul Todd, and instead he catches the curb again and loses it. He's going to lose a spot to Gary Wood as well. And Steve Wingfield now is, well, probably not having as much fun as he did 30 seconds ago inside that race car.
I think it might have been also that dirty air he got in right up behind the car in front of him, a little bit closer to Gary Wood, and that just snapped him right around. Also, not helping anything was him basically going through that corner. Yeah, he understeered right onto the curb, right into the grass a little bit, and around he went.
Eric Dalla-Riva, fastest lap of 149.861. That's going to tie him with Houghton in the points. If it comes down, oh gosh, I don't know what the tiebreaker is here. If it comes down to wins, Eric Dalla-Riva has 8 wins, Houghton has 7. I don't know what the tiebreaker is, but if the tiebreaker is the number of wins on the season, Eric Dalla-Riva will win the championship in a tiebreaker, if that's the tiebreaker. I'm not sure.
We need to get the league admins on the phone. Oh, he's on track right now. We need to dial him up then.
By the way, just to get back to what you were saying about Podium versus Podium 2, there was a poll put out. 74%. 74% voted with Podium 2.
It was
you
a
can't
rigged
disagree
poll.
with the people.
I do not support that poll.
All I know is we all have a fun time. It doesn't matter which one's better. Podium 2.
Okay.
Nonetheless, we all have a great time, and it's going to be great on Thursday when we get to turn right and left. Another first for us. We had the dirt race almost a month ago now. Now we're turning left and right. A road course for the first time in the qualifying series. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's no doubt about it, especially since the trucks don't normally go to Watkins Glen. This is the first time they have gone there in quite some time.
And also on the real life side of things, the first time this year that the truck series will go to Watkins Glen. So it's going to be fun to see. I think it's a triple hitter that weekend as well.
Yep.
Closest gap, I think, is 5.4 seconds right now. Battle for 8th, Paul Todd and Gary Wood. After Wood was able to get by Wingfield after Wingfield's incident, I believe. Oh, around!
Kaczynski just happened to look up, and all of a sudden he didn't have a gap. He's off course. That's over. Wow, that's where we saw the drift earlier, except he couldn't correct it.
Incident
and
9.
He beached it.
Yeah, that was beach right in the sand. Luckily, I don't think you can get the cars stuck in sand on iRacing. Thankfully, you can't. So he was able to just get out of it. It's a little bit difficult to work your way out of it, though. But he's able to get out and keep fourth place and close the gap at least a tiny bit in between himself and Ralston, but still 23 seconds. So not a lot lost on that little spin there. Pazinski just needed to try and get a little bit more consistent and start running in fourth, try and maybe catch up to Della Riva, who is 9 seconds up the road.
Just over 8.5, 9 seconds, yeah, with Della Riva, who is, him and Pucci both are closing in on Wagner little by little. Tell you what, while we're here, 50 minutes left here from Suzuka. Let's go side by side. When we come back, we will get the pit stops and then get another break before we take you into the checkered flag. So 50 minutes left. Mike Wagner trying to pull up the upset here from Suzuka. We're back after this. Stay with us. .48 minutes left. We're closing in on the last pit stops of the night. Mike Wagner continues to lead the way with Michael Pucic in second, Eric Della Riva third, Chris Pazinski in fourth, Jonathan Ralston sitting in the fifth spot. As we continue to tick down the minutes, tick down the laps, and we await for Mike Wagner to come onto pit road and hand the controls back over to his teammate of Jordan Bezugli.
Is it not a good spot to hand over those reins anymore? It is down to 15 seconds the gap. The 20 has been reeling him in slightly, so it's down now inside 15 and a half seconds. So if Wagner were to pit now, he would lose the lead. And then when Bezugli gets back in the car, he'd have to try and regain that lead back. The 20 is closing in pretty quickly now.
The gap was 16 seconds before it went to break. It was 20 seconds when they all came off pit road. It's now down to 15 seconds and closing. Eric Dalla-Riva also closing in little by little on Puchik and on the leaders. So it is going to come down to the wire here. If Wagner can have enough insurance to get him to stay out in front with the driver change, get his team to stay out there with the driver change, and get them to victory lane.
And we also have, you got to remember, that points battle and the battle for the fastest lap brewing. Fastest lap still the 149.861 set by Eric Dalla-Riva, but Wagner's gotten close to 149.867. It's only a 6/1000th of a second difference between those two laps.
We'll have to see. I mean, if Dalla-Riva holds on, I believe we have a tie. There may be points for Dalla-Riva because I don't know if he's had any incident points. But we won't know that till the end of the race anyway. So it's really just a waiting game to see what happens here. And to see who will indeed be the champion at the end of these next 45 minutes.
Pit stops are going to be on the horizon soon for this final stint. The question about this final stint, and I think we're going to see pit stops for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes based on how they've been pitting so far, is will Wagner be safe with this driver swap? Because right now the answer is no. And we have multiple other drivers that they're going to need to make normal pit stops, and I don't think anybody else is going to make a driver swap. No, actually, Hit Motorsports still does need to make a driver swap. They will make a driver swap in the last pit stop, but it's only 13th and 1st that are going to make a driver swap. It's Jim Barras Racing and Hit Motorsports, so Wagner needs to really try and pull away now more than ever, but it's 15.2 seconds, that gap. It needs to be about 20. Wagner's not in a good spot to pit right now.
Getting confirmation from Dalla-Riva's teammate in James Houghton. Dalla-Riva does not have any incident points yet. He gets the 2 bonus points. Eric Dalla-Riva right now is your champion. And he just crushed the fastest lap, a 149.499 for Eric Dalla-Riva. An exclamation point closing in on pit stops. Eric Dalla-Riva putting this championship almost out of reach if he can remain perfect for the next 43 minutes.
That is a glass-shattering fastest lap. 149.499. Faster than anything we saw in qualifying either. So he is just absolutely going for it. And he's gaining time to the car in front too. 5.7 seconds. We might see a battle for second place, which is going to severely help Mike Wagner to try and pull away from second place to have a good pit window.
Depending on how long it takes Dalla-Riva to get by him, yeah, you're right. 5.5 seconds is the gap for second. As Eric Dalla-Riva just trying to bring home a perfect day to take the title away from his teammate in the last race of the season.
Man, I'll tell you what, Dalla-Riva does put in a really fast lap like he did last time by. But then we see this lap, 149.686. Never mind. I thought it was going to be a fast lap and then a relatively slow lap, but no, it is still an insanely fast lap. And he's still closing in on the 20 car ahead of him. But it's about a second separating their last lap times, but Dallariva's not closing in too quickly, but he's going to close in and just keep on closing and closing and closing and closing and closing. He needs to pass him, which has been the challenge all day here at Suzuka.
And Dallariva also hasn't had much of an experience with traffic of cars that are on the same lap as him. He hasn't had to pass many folks. He's pretty much been on an island all by his lonesome since he's gotten in the car. Hasn't seen too much in terms of racing the cars that are immediately around him in the standings.
Nobody else making moves on the racetrack. Everybody kind of just buying time, logging laps, waiting for the final pit stop to roll its way around. And you can see that gap with Wagner, 14.8. Not going down, but not going up, which I know that Wagner wants it to. So he needs to really get the lap pedal on. And we keep bringing it up because it will be a developing battle for the lead. This essentially is the battle for the lead because we know Wagner needs to give the reins over to Biz Ugly in this last stop, which is going to add 20 seconds to their pit stop, which means that we will see the 20 retake the lead. And then that will be the battle for the lead with about 5 seconds separating the two. So this is the battle for the lead, even though it's a 15-second difference. This really is going to determine how the leaders are at the exit of the pit stops.
Inside 40 minutes left. It's a 4-second gap. Just under it. Between Puchik and Dallariva.
Dallariva is still closing, albeit not a lot anymore, but
I mean,
look at the last handful of lap times.
Yeah.
He's still running in the 149.
And how about
149, 513 for Pazinski?
I was going to say, how about Pazinski? He's getting down there and close. Pazinski doesn't want this thing to end quite yet. They want to keep us on our toes.
This is going to be a fastest lap battle like we would see in Formula One, I think, if they keep this up. A 149.976 for Steven Nigovin. I think I'm saying that right.
Yep.
And he's now in the 149s. Eric Delarova's in pit lane. Pit stops are starting. 30's in.
It's the last pit stop of the day. Another one coming in behind him. That's Leo Mora back in the 12th spot. So Dallariva is in. This is the money stop for everybody. Trouble for the 12. He's around under the bridge. Thomas Miller gets it rolling now, but he was dead sideways there for a moment. Just got in way too hot into the corner and looped it around. Gets it back going now. How about Rolston and Nagovin? There's a pass. Rolston must really have an issue because he just got blown by Nagovin. Pazinski is around. Hold on, what happened to Pazinski? Pazinski spun it. Wow! He got way sideways, got the curbs, almost hit the wall in two different places. In fact, he did hit the wall. This was coming over towards the hairpin, I believe.
No, it was going through the S's. It was the exit of turn 4 specifically, I believe.
Rolston is in. Wagner continues to stay out. Under
This
37
could
minutes
be-
left.
This could be a smart pit stop from Wagner if he tries to stretch this as far as possible. He might be able to get enough of a gap to where that 40-second pit stop that he needs to make to surrender the keys over might actually work.
He can't stay out too long because, remember, he's got to get it back to Bizugly in order for him to hit that 65-minute minimum seat time. If he can't do that, it's all for naught. They're out of the race.
I think he only needs 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less than that. I believe they started pitting around 45 minutes into the race, which would mean that only 25 minutes to 30 minutes would be needed for Bizugly to get his minimum allocated time. It's going to be a tight one coming down to this last driver swap because we don't exactly know what's going to happen after the swap is done.
Pazinski's in. So third place is coming to pit road. Rainville is also on pit road. Eric Dallariva gets by Pazinski. So move Dallariva to fourth. He's 3.5 back on Nagovin. Remember, Dallariva pitted. Nagovin has not. He's been able to rebound that 10 car greatly, though, with a couple of spins from his teammate in DiPietro. Here comes Wagner for the final pit stop. He's going to hand the keys over.
He's going to lose the lead.
Getting onto pit road.
He's going to lose the lead unless Puchik pits this time.
Puchik will...
He stays out.
Stay out. Yep.
Yeah, they're going to lose the lead. I think they're going to lose the lead even after Puchik comes in as well.
So Michael Puchik takes the lead for Luke Tucciaroni's hopes at making it the distance. Waiting for Wagner to get out of the car. He's out. Bizugly's in. Nagovin is a mile back from everybody else. There's Nagovin coming through the last couple of corners.
Yeah, so Bizugly's back in the car. He's losing so much time, though, as Puchik, he still needs to pit. So I think he's going to pit this time. And if he does, then I still don't think Bizugly's going to be... Here comes Bizugly out. We'll get to see exactly what the gap is. I don't think he's close enough at all. No, he's not. 49 seconds.
Wow.
50 seconds. They're going to be 30 seconds back by the time Puchik comes out of the pit lane, I think, without the stop.
Unless Puchik screws it up. That might be the race. We'll have to see how fast Bizugly is behind the wheel to bring him home. Puchik, it looks like, is going to stay out for another lap.
We'll
have
see.
to wait and
Puchik's
see.
coming through 130R.
Yeah, here he comes. Paul Todd is in.
So the gap's 49 seconds with the pit lane time. It's going to be close. I think the normal pit lane time is about 49 seconds.
Puchik stays out again.
He's trying to extend that gap, I think. It's up to 50. Puchik might be able to keep this lead maybe by a handful of seconds, but I think it might be even closer than that with the pit lane time.
Well, here's the thing. Looking at what's going on, the fastest pit stop thus far in total between pit lane and everything else, Thomas Miller back in 10th, a 49.8 from cone to cone on pit road. That would put Bizugly in the lead barely, but Puchik wouldn't be up to speed when he comes out. So this may play into the Six's hands here. Gotta wait and see because everybody else around him has yet to make a stop. Dallariva's the only one that has come in, first and third, still staying out on the racetrack. I
think the Six might be able to take the lead off of this with those. the pit lane times have gotten a little bit slower. That 49.8 seems more normal to me than all the 1 minute 4s that we saw. 1 minute 28 from Jonathan Ralston. He had a very long pit stop in the box, about a minute in the box.
Nagovin in trouble for Puchik. No, not Puchik. I'm sorry, Pazinski. Looking at the wrong name. Chris Pazinski going around. That's in the hairpin. Lost it under braking. Keeps it rolling, though. Back to Puchik, though, who's still in the lead. I don't remember if I said it, but Nagovin on pit road. Puchik coming towards the chicane.
Is he going to pit? Let's see. Yes, he does.
Yep,
okay,
here he is.
This is going to be the battle for the race lead. Coming out of the hairpin now is Bezugley. He goes through turn 12. This is going to be close.
He's going to get there.
Puchik can only go so fast on pit lane. These cars do have a pit speed limiter, so it can't be like eNASCAR. Some people might see them speed up about 5 miles an hour and then break back. They can't gain much time on the pit lane through the very bumpy pit road. Into the box. Bezugley's just now entering turn number 15. He just is now turning into it. He's going to work his way through the Calcio triangle. Out comes Nagovin. Into the chicane. Still in the box is Puchik.
Puchik's probably got about 5 seconds left in the box at least. He's gone 22-7. He's going to beat him. He's going to be dead even. Here comes Bezugley down the straightaway. Puchik trying to get through the gears to turn 1. Michael Puchik hangs on to the race lead. Puchik hanging on, but remember, he's on cold tires when he comes out, so he's got to be careful that he doesn't spin the car and allow Bezugley to take the lead. So Michael Puchik helping out Luke Tucciarone, keeping the lead. Problem is, who they're trying to beat, Eric Dallariva, they're in third right now, the third step on the podium. They've got more than a minute to the next car behind him in Pazinski.
Talk about this, too. Every time that the Jim Barris racing car has been in third, second, fourth, whatever, almost every car in front of them has made a mistake at some point, leading that Jim Barris Racing number 6 to go right on by. And they are fast. When they are chased, when the 6 is chasing, I don't care if it's Bezugley in the car or Wagner in the car.
Look at this, it's going to turn him! They end up crashing!
Made.
Bezugley turns Puchik around as they were crashing in front of him with Gary Rudd. Bezugley with the dump and run, and Jordan Bezugley takes the lead in the hairpin. And he's got more than the second lead over Puchik. Wow!
Unbelievable! That was a send and a half down to the bottom of the hairpin.
He's got 29 minutes left. I don't know why he had to send it that quick. Here's the replay. A little late. Let's try it again. Here it is. The send of the year, Alex Zanardi style. Plows into him. I can't believe that Bezugley didn't spin, and a great job by Puchik of not losing too much time. Another angle. Yeah, Gary Wood went around up in front of him. But I don't think that was enough to draw that contact there because it was on the other side of the corner. And now the gap is 2 seconds.
I will be honest, I don't know how the admins are going to enjoy that call.
Yeah, that's... I'm keeping my ears peeled, but I haven't heard anything over the radio.
I will say I am very glad we are in the commentary booth, not the admin booth. That would be a... oh, wow.
Wow. Didn't see that one coming. There's a slow car. That is Thomas Miller, who gets it rolling now. He's now 2 laps down.
I'll tell you what, all the notes that we had on that Puchik and Bezugley battle, we can go ahead and throw them out the window.
Yeah, that lasted all of 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And Bezugley's gone.
Yeah, that now puts the closest battle, Thomas Miller, Gary Wood, 2.2, as they race for 9th. As there goes Puchik right on by Lapped Machine. He's not going to close in either. You can see just how quick Biz Ugly is. Already the gap grown to 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Puchik is way back there. I don't think he was going to be able to hold off Biz Ugly to begin with. But I'm not sure if that move was the right idea there as well. And that's Gary Wood getting around, or trying to get around, Thomas Miller here. 9th spot, as we mentioned.
Both battling 2 laps down as well. That was actually the 2 lapped machines the leaders just went on by, Thomas Miller and Gary Wood.
And Jonathan Rolston is in between Pizzugly and Puchik right now. Other than that, it's clean real estate for Puchik to get back to the 6th, but he's got a long way to get there, 2.5 seconds.
The worst part is they have traffic in between them, and I think they're going to end up putting more traffic in between them as well. 25 minutes left. I don't think Puchik's going to make it back by Biz Ugly unless Biz Ugly makes a mistake, and that'll be the first time all night a Jim Barras racing car has made a mistake.
Pretty much. I think Biz Ugly's made a few mistakes early, but his teammate and Mike Wagner was just robotic out on the racetrack.
That is Thomas Miller into the pit lane. We'll see if that Chazardi racing car is going to have a driver swap. No, it looks like a stop and go penalty, maybe for incident points, I believe. Was that the car that pitted earlier, that had the drive-through earlier for the incident points?
It's possible, but it's a drive-through for incident points, not a stop and go. So that may have just been for fuel to get him to the end, because it was only a 2.8 second stop. Puchik struggling to get around Rolston this lap car, so Biz Ugly to pull away by 3/10. Now here we go.
Side by side now into 130R. And right on around he goes. So it doesn't look like Rolston was going to make it that tough on him when he caught him. Now there's nobody in between him, but Biz Ugly still on rails at the front of this field. Not letting Puchik catch anything up to him. Fastest lap, still Pazinski, 149.513. Actually, 149.499 from Eric Dallariva.
Dallariva, yeah, right.
Fastest time. Steven Nigovin, I'm not sure what lap he said it, 149.519. He's getting down there in lap times as well.
Yep. So that leaves 4 folks that have broken the 149 barrier. Biz Ugly, or no, rather, okay, make it 5 because Wagner did it and Biz Ugly did it at a point. Plus then Dallariva, Pazinski, and Nigovin. Everybody else 150 or higher.
Battle for 11th, Leo Mora versus Steve Wingfield. Half a second as they go through the S's. Mora for Omega Racing Team. Wingfield Team BS there, 11th and 12th.
Yeah, that is the closest battle on the racetrack right now between those two by a long shot.
Oh, off track, way off track goes Wingfield. He completely overshot turn 9. Ended up across the rumble strip and into the, not grass, the little runoff area there. I made a little bit into the sand, but not too much. And we're nearing 20 minutes left. This is the pretty much the time where we're gonna see if anybody can catch up to the car in front of him. And right now, closest gap, but battle for the lead, 4.1 on the track.
Yeah, at this point, everybody's just trying to make it home. 20 minutes left here at Suzuka as one car goes wide. That's the 99, I believe, of Jim Anderson there. Just trying to bring that thing around.
I feel like there's a lot of the drivers now in this field that are just trying to bring it home. With the 20 seconds left, they're just trying to survive. I'm not sure how many drivers have taken faster pairs, but they had 5 available to them. Or actually, they had no limit as set in the iRacing settings, at least.
Okay, well, there we go then.
I just decided to look there. But all the driver swaps done, pit stops done. It's just racing to the end. But a handful of drivers just racing lapped cars that are trying to get by now.
Wingfield closing in on Leo Mora again. 11th to 12th. Closest battle on the racetrack by more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really shocked that Biz Ugly's running away with the lead. I mean, you can question the pass, but I do think the pass was going to come at some point. I don't think in an alternate universe where the large send and the hairpin didn't happen, we would still see Puchik at the front of the field. I think we'd still see Biz Ugly right up there at the front of the field.
Jonathan Rolston may have gone off there. He's a lap down in 6th. First car lap down. Just up the road from Eric Dallariva, who's trying to clinch championship here.
Yeah, I'm trying to do so. The battle for the fastest lap has relaxed a little bit. We haven't seen anybody get down into the 149s in a good amount of time. But the fastest lap still held by 30, 149.499. We're going to see that battle of the fastest lap come in all the way to the checkered flag here.
Eric De La Riva is closing in little by little. On Puchik, he's still 7 seconds back.
Closing in, like you said, slowly, but I'd say even slower because it's not. He has estimated about 12 to go. So he would need to start closing in by roughly about half a second a lap, a little bit more, maybe 0.6, and he's not there. So he needs Puchik to make a mistake for him to get close enough to have a passing opportunity. Yeah, only 15 minutes left. I mean, we are very quickly getting down into the twilight stage of this race.
Well, here comes De La Riva through the last corner. Let's see how fast he is compared to Puchik. Half a second. So, maybe.
I mean, 6.5 seconds. Oh, off track. One
Trouble.
car.
That's Paul Todd. The first car 2 laps down. In 8th. He's got an 8-second gap over Gary Wood, who's in 9th right now, even with the crash.
Leo Mora battling with Steve Wingfield once again. Wingfield caught back up after that incident.
Yeah, this hasn't changed much over the last couple of minutes. We just keep coming back to it. And we run out of things to talk about because it is still a pretty good battle, even though it is for 11th.
Wingfield made a mistake in the last one. Ugly just lost 3 seconds to Puchik, it looks like. They're down to 2.5.
Puchik's closing in big time.
2.5 second gap now. Will we see a battle for the lead, or will Bazugly pull right back away? I think Bazugli's just going to pull right back away.
Oh, I tell you what happened. Bazugly spun it out. That's why. Coming through, we've seen it time and time again through that long sweeping corner, got a little wide, got the curb, and got sideways. We've seen it so many times tonight. The gap is 2 seconds. My goodness. Jordan Bazugly proving that this thing is not over yet. As we've got 13 minutes left. Michael Puchik trying to do everything he can to close it in and try and give us a dramatic finish. On board Puchik.
We keep talking about you need to be close to make a move, and it's especially true here at this track. And I think especially true now because if the admins will take a look at the ugly move on Puchik from right after the pit stop, this could be a gift for Puchik to then take the win. If they don't review it, or don't make a decision on it, then Puchik does need to pass Bazugly, but I don't think he's going to want to do it in the same fashion as the 6 did.
Oh, I don't know. I think he may keep that in his memory bank, say, hey, remember what you did to me? Well, if you're going to race me like that, I'll race you the same way. Under 12 minutes to go. Here from Suzuka, Jordan Bezzugli trying to hang on for the next 12 minutes. Michael Pucic trying to reel him in. Still a second and a half between these two. Pucic just needs another mistake out of the 6 in order to really be able to capitalize here.
You can't get close enough. I mean, he's still right there. 1.5 seconds the gap. He's just not closing at a rate that he needs to, especially if we're only 11 minutes left.
Well, 1.3. Here we go. Getting close.
He dives it in. It's going to help him a little bit, but it's just not... He's not closing in quick enough to be able to... Because if he catches Bezzugli, then he needs to get around him. And if Bezzugli was that aggressive trying to pass, you got to think how aggressive he'll be trying to prevent a pass.
Well, you got to remember what Rick Allen said once long ago, aggressive goes around. We could see that here at the end of this deal. Bezzugli gets too aggressive, fighting for the win.
This just in, Jacob Hitz has been fired from STN Racing by the producer, Zach Johnson.
All right, well, I'll go home then.
You lose, you get nothing. Good day, sir. Well, 10 minutes left now.
Yep.
Out of 2.5 hours. So this is the final push. Pucic's just not, he can't close. He closes to about 1.3 and then the gap grows again. He's stuck in this one bubble and just cannot get there. And he was faster by about 0.3, but it's not enough.
No, he's still closing in little by little. And, you know, we're coming down to the last 7 laps. If he keeps that pace up for 7 laps, he can get to the back of the 6. Not saying he could pass him, but he could at least get within striking distance. And maybe all he needs to do is put the pressure on the 6 to make a mistake. That could significantly alter the end of this deal. It's Thomas Miller on pit road again.
Yeah, unscheduled pit stop at this point. As the 5th pit stop for Tazardi Racing in this race, so it has been a struggle-filled race for him. Hip Motorsports has also had not the best race. Team BS and Omega Racing team still within about 1 second of each other. Wingfield not able to catch up too much. But other than that, it's the battle for the lead that we're really watching, and Pucic's not able to do much of it just yet. With 8.5 minutes to go, he needs to start putting on those afterburners.
Yeah, it looks like he's closing in a little. He's got it. He had it under a second there for a moment. Looks like it's going to come out about even here as they come through the last corner. It's about 1.4 seconds here at the line. Dead even lap times. Not what Pucic was looking for. Gonna need more help than that. And you got to keep in mind Eric De La Riva, he's only 6 seconds back. He's lurking behind these two.
Lurking from afar. He is there. 4.3 between himself and Pucic. De La Riva still has that fastest lap. Nobody's been able to get even close. Okay. Chris Pazinski's been able to get a little bit close. 149.801. Maybe they're speeding up to try and take away that fastest lap.
Gap
what
back
are we
over
looking
2
at
seconds.
in terms of the point standings with the fastest laps here, Jacob?
Right now with points, De La Riva. I don't think he's had an incident yet. And as long as he hasn't had an incident, Eric De La Riva should be leading the championship by 1 point. Luke Tucciaroni, who was the driver of the 20, teammates of Pucic, he needs the 41 to fall back about 2 more spots in order for Tucciaroni to have a shot to leapfrog both Houghton and Dalla Riva. But at this point, it looks like Eric Dalla Riva is in the catbird seat to win the title. Lap traffic ahead, and Jim Anderson here. A little ways up the road. They might get to him here. They should get to him before the end of the race. We'll have about 6 minutes left as they come through the chicane. Looking at timing at the line. Dead even again. Pucic just a hair faster, but not enough. They're getting faster and faster, but Pucic running out of time at this point with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, time. He had a lot of time about two hours ago, and he's completely out of it now. 5 minutes as the clock continues to wind down. Back on board with Pucic. He was closing really well there for a couple of laps, Jacob, but then he fell off. I don't think it's anything that he could control. I mean, Bezzecchi is a fast driver with Wagner.
Pucic almost puked it coming out of that corner over the curb. That got very close. And he's going to lock it up here trying to get underneath Anderson. He gets through. He's going to lose a hair of time. As Bezzecchi had some trouble there getting into the hairpin, Pucic had the issue getting out of it.
So 5 minutes now. Bezzecchi on the back straightaway. I think we're going to have maybe 3 more laps. Just about.
Maybe. Have to see what happens when they cross the line. Closing in a hair. At least getting it on entry, but he loses time on the exit, which is where it's really going to cost him. Yeah, he lost the time here. He lost about a 1/10. Pucic did.
If he can catch him, he would then need to get back by him, which is going to be a challenge all in itself.
You just drive through him. That's the only option you have at this point. You know, based off of the way they raced earlier, when they had time to battle it out, Bezzecchi didn't want to do it. I don't want to blame Pucic if he reciprocates the deal here, if he can get to him. He just needs a mistake. And since Pucic started catching him, Bezzecchi has been perfect.
Cloud cover now here at Suzuka.
It's down to a second. Pucic really pushed it into the hairpin, and it actually worked. Pulled up 5/10 there in the hairpin. I think we're going to get 2 more here. I think Pucic's just throwing everything to the wind right now. Caution to the wind, yeah. 8/10. Headed towards the chicane.
He's going to get within slipstream distance.
Yeah, this is going to be close enough.
Is Bezzecchi going to weave on this front straightaway? I'm wondering, because that's going to be the sign that Bezzecchi knows he's there and is a little bit worried.
Let's see. We should get 2 laps to go here as they come through the last corner. 8/10 of a second is the gap. Bezzecchi holding his line towards the outside. Not going to zigzag yet. Maybe he's going to save it for the last lap. Back to 1. Oh, little bobble out of the leader. That's going to allow Pucic to close in a little bit. Lost him a lot of time. Still wiggling the car a little bit. Look how hard Pucic's driving the card.
He is really going for it. We will see the clock expire next time by. This will be the white flag lap when Bizugly comes across the start-finish line to take it, because we will be now officially, if we were to start a new lap, we would not make it to the end. And locking up on the entry is Puchik. He's going to go a little bit wide here. He's going to lose some time.
That's it. He just lost everything that he gained and more on that last lap. That's it for Puchik. I mean, unless Bizugly beaches it somewhere. That's the race. Coming through the carousel. Just about 1.5 seconds between these top two. As they head toward the chicane. And Bizugly should see the white flag as we have 1 minute left. Coming down through the chicane, taking it easy. Coming to the line. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go here at Suzuka for Jordan Bizugly. A 1.4 second lead over Michael Puchik. Eric Dallariva looks like he might have the championship locked up here. He's just got to make it through 1 more perfect lap.
And Dallariva has been no slouch here. Look at the top 3. Their gap right now, 3 seconds. It was upwards of, I think, 40 seconds at one point separating these 3 cars, and they have all caught each other. Great racing out here at the tail end of this lap, or tail end of this race, I should say. And as the clock winds down with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is not a happy new year, but it is the end of the race. We have the checkered flag this time by. But if Bizugly doesn't make a mistake here, it's going to be a walk-off for him. And if Dallariva doesn't make a mistake here, it's going to be a walk-off for him with the championship.
Here they come. They're out of the hairpin. And now they got to make it the rest of the way. The gap hasn't changed between Bizugly and Puchik. Into the carousel here. This has been the tricky spot. Bizugly makes it through. That's the 10 of Ngovin with an issue. Not sure what he hit, but he is crawling. He's going to get blown by the leaders here. Puchik flashing his lights up the hill. Into the chicane for the final time. Jordan Bizugly, they dominated. They pulled some funky strategy on us. Into the chicane. Jordan Bizugly. Jim Barras Racing is going to win the Hip Motorsports 150 and the 2.5 hours at Suzuka. Michael Puchik second, Eric Dallariva third, and as long as he had no incident points, Eric Dallariva beats James Houghton and is your champion for the F.A.R.T season. Gonna have to wait for scoring just to be safe, but it looks like Eric Dallariva should have enough here to do it. He still has the fastest lap, so he will at least be tied as long as he did not get an X. He should get the 2 bonus points. That'll put him over the top.
What a race for Jim Barras Racing at the front of this field. I mean, even when they were down, I think they only went as low as 4th, and they just rallied back right up to the front and celebrating the win. I think less time in between first and second than we were thinking, but man, that could have been a really good race to the finish there. Unfortunately, just Puchik couldn't catch him in time.
Still waiting here for everybody else to finish this deal. For everybody else to get around the racetrack. As Leo Mora is the only one that has not taken the checkered flag yet. Here he comes. Taking his grand old time. He's got 45 seconds left. 35 seconds.
No way.
It's going to be close. He needs to step it up here. And I mean a lot. 25. Sounds like we're counting down to a nuclear disaster here. 20. Headed towards the chicane. Hey, you never know. We are in Japan.
Ooh, oh.
10 seconds. Sorry. 5. Not going to make it. That's it. It's over. Ball game.
Throw him out.
And let's see. Eric Dallariva is goose egg in the incident column. Eric Dallariva is confirmed the F.A.R.T Summer Series champion. He beats James Houghton because Houghton had 7 incident points.
Ooh.
Dallariva had none. Eric Dallariva.
That is what did it.
With a perfect race from cover to cover to win the championship. Let's run through the order of the race tonight. It's Jim Barris Racing, the 6 team, capturing the flag first. Second place, Michael Puchik for Team Luke and Michael. Third place, it's the 30-30-30. They finish in third. Eric Dallariva bringing them home. Team Yellow Horse finishes fourth with Chris Pazinski. Fifth place, Young Bump Burps with Stephen Nagovin. Sixth place, Gladiator Road Racing with Jonathan Rolston. And seventh, happy ending to the spa day in Raymond, Rainville. They are seventh. And Josh, why don't you take us the rest of the way here, if you can.
Oh, that will be Paul Todd in 8th place, Gary Wood 9th, Steve Winfield rounding out your top 10 with Leo Mora, Thomas Miller all bringing their teams home in the top 12, and Jim Anderson for Hip Motorsports at the tail end of the field in 13th. But that wraps up 2.5 hours of racing here from Suzuka, and we have a winner and a champion.
The winner, or the winners rather, for the 6, Mike Wagner, Jordan Bazugli with an incredible strategy that we didn't see coming. They were able to seal the deal for him. 3 incident points for Wagner, 8 for Bazugli. But in the end, they were still able to find a way home. And to victory lane for Eric Dallariva. He's your champion, beating his teammate because he basically didn't make a mistake all night long. Bringing that team home in third. They win the team championship, but it's Dallariva who wins the overall individual standings. Still waiting here to see if we get any interviews. And let's see. All righty. Still waiting. We're going to go to break. We'll be back right after this here from Suzuka. Alrighty, we have people to talk to. Let's do pretty much a dual interview here between our two race winners, Mike Wagner and Jordan Bazugli. You guys were out front for a lot of tonight. Minimal mistakes between both of you. You threw us for a loop with the strategy you guys pulled with having Wagner take the entire middle section and then Bazugli starting and finishing. We didn't really expect to see it. You guys were the only ones to do it. Take us through your night.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, honestly. I mean, the first stint actually, when we switched out, we actually took tires, which I don't think anybody else did. I think everyone tried to double stint. When we did our practice runs, I guess the tires wore down a lot more than during the actual race. I guess the track being rubbered in and whatnot. But we took tires and thought it was a gamble and it wasn't going to work out. But I guess as the other teams tires wore down and Mike was on a fresh set for that first stint, we were able to claw that time back and get back in front.
You guys had a lot of pressure there. Take us through that contact that happened in the hairpin there towards the end of the race.
Yeah. I'm not too happy about it, honestly. Like you never want to kind of make a pass that way. It was really tough. I was following him in the hairpin, and I think Michael just jammed on the brakes pretty early and kind of surprised me. So I kind of tried to brake as best as I can and kind of try to stay to the inside to the left of him to try to kind of ease a gap open for myself. But obviously he turned in there and. I had a bit of lockup, so there was a touch of contact. So obviously a little bumping and bruising there, but unfortunate.
And Mike, let's get you in here as well. You carried this team through the middle part of the race. You were able to get the team in a spot where Bazugli could take over there and get out in front when he got back out on the racetrack. You were hauling the mail through those 41 consistent laps that you were out there. Take us through. You didn't have a ton of traffic to deal with. You were just pretty much on cruise control.
Yeah, for sure. I got pretty lucky there with coming out to a clear track. Was able to keep my head down, putting in good fast laps. I did have one little mistake on the exit of turn 8, but I was able to keep it out of the wall for the most part and get her going. And then, headed over to Jordan in a good position. He was able to take it home. So good job for the Jim Barris Racing team tonight, and pretty happy about that to end up our summer season here with the F.A.R.T League.
Well, for you guys, congratulations on the win here from Suzuka, and best of luck to you going forward in the season that's coming up here through the fall. And again, congratulations on the win here from Suzuka, guys. Congratulations and enjoy.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for putting on a show. Looked good.
Yeah, it's been great.
Mike Wagner, Jordan Bazugli, your race winners here from Suzuka. Josh Lee has the series champion, Eric Dallariva.
And what a run it was for Dallariva there at the end, earning the fastest lap. No incident points during his stint, so that makes you the champion. What does it mean to be the champion here in the Summer Series?
It feels pretty good. Didn't think it would happen. James sort of, squeaked ahead there last week, and we're pretty equal. He just, pretty unique scenario where you're going into the last round in a tight championship battle, also with the guy that you're sharing the car with and also trying to achieve the same goal in the final race. Unfortunately he just had a couple incidents, and fortunately for me, the track really cooled down during my time in the car that helped me get the fastest lap, and it just kind of all came together.
And at late in that race, it became a challenge, especially when you got in the car. Not only did you need to set that fastest lap, but you also needed to keep it clean. And 0 incident points means no off tracks, no car contact, and nothing with anything. So how difficult was it to really get that done in the latter half of that race? Everybody was spread out. It was easy with no car contact, but we've seen some harsh off tracks being given here at Suzuka all day long.
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamic too, because even earlier in the race, right at the start, I said to James, I was like, I don't want you to. We kind of made a little bit of an agreement, and I said we should both push to try and win the race. We wanted to win one of these team races this year, and we were in position earlier in the year to do it, and had some hardware issues. I guess the iRacing version of a mechanical that prevented that, and I think this is. Would have been a good opportunity. So I said, yeah, make sure you push. Don't if you go off track and get a 0x and, you know, it's in an effort to try and win the race, I'm not going to, you know, putz around just to try and get no incidents to win and, you know, kind of screw the team. But just like I said, the way it played out, he had a couple incidents and our strategy wasn't the greatest. So we kind of had to stay fuel that whole last stint as well. I was trying to push to, you know, catch up to Jordan and Michael and then at the same time have, you know, no incidents and get the fast lap. So yeah, there was a lot going on.
Congratulations on your championship here in the Summer Series.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Eric Zadalariva, champion for 30-30-30 racing here today and champion of the Summer Series here. Jacob, what a race here from Suzuka, all 2.5 hours. We had a lot of good battles closer to the end there as well.
We made it through all the strategy, through all the chaos that went on. A lot of incidents in that first half hour, but it pretty much laid the framework for a fantastic run to the flag with all the strategy there and all the math adding up there for the championship. Certainly one wild night here from Suzuka that we won't forget for quite some time. Coming up here on STN tomorrow. No, Friday, FTF Saturday Night Saturday Night Super Speedway League, presented by STN, round 3 from the Monza Oval. With the Xfinity cars, 9 o'clock Friday. The E-Racer Roval Racing Series, round 3 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course, Saturday, July 31st. That's this Saturday, 7 p.m. on the E-Racer channel. On Tuesday, Hit Motorsports Summer Sim Racing Championship. We're here at Suzuka, 8:30 p.m. start on Tuesday, August 3rd. And then next Thursday, the NASCAR Auto Pro Qualifying iRacing Series returns from Watkins Glen International in the trucks on Podium and on Podium 2. You'll hear me on Podium 2. You'll hear Josh on the regular old Podium stream. That's what's coming up here on STN. For Zach Johnson, our producer, and Josh Lee, along with me, I'm Jacob Pintz. Thank you so much for watching. We are back on Thursday with... No, I'll get it right eventually. We're back on Friday with the FTF Saturday Night Super Speedway League. Until then, thanks for watching and good night.